Hello, 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 and welcome to the Bada Show. I am one of your hosts, Dave, and down there, right there, wearing that very Valentine-centric purple, not pink shirt, is my partner in crime, Chris. Chris, hello, I am glad you are in the mood for love.
Hey, simply because you're near me.
Indeed, that's all what it's all about right there.
Funny, but when you're near me. Yeah.
Oh, yes. And, I know it's not Valentine's Day yet. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but what can I say? It's in my nature. I'm a very loving human being.
Sure.
Ask anybody I know, they will totally confirm this. I bought my wife a gift for Valentine's Day,
Okay.
and I'm a giver.
Mhm.
Someone even informed me that gifting is my love language. It's something I very much enjoy to do. Receiving, however, is something that's
Mhm.
never been truly important to me until now.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, it's no secret. I love the show Murder She Wrote, and I
Hmm.
really wanted a Murder She Wrote T-shirt because I have a penchant for T-shirts. If no one's ever noticed before, I
Sure.
have a closet just chock full of various designs, and I brought it up to my wife, and she's like, "Do you really need another shirt? I mean, come on. Again, the closet's a little too much. Who are you, Liberace?
Hmm.
Slow it down a little bit." But then I rationalized it by going, well, the T-shirt website is having a sale. I just bought her this very nice gift for Valentine's Day. What if I just treat myself?
There you
And
go.
I did. Now,
Hmm.
should I end up in a shallow grave after Valentine's Day when it is revealed I did buy myself something to celebrate? Don't be.
We should bury you in that shirt.
Well, you know what? That's fine because it's an awesome T-shirt.
There
I
you
will
go.
accept this as my burial garb. I mean, me and JB Fletcher, Angela
Mhm.
Lansbury for eternity. What better way to spend the afterlife? But yeah, just
It'll be the Shroud of
the
Fletcher.
Shroud of Fletcher. I just want to let you
Yes.
know, everybody else know, if I
Okay.
suddenly disappear, it's because of this friggin' T-shirt that I decided to buy for myself. So
Well, and if you do appear again, you must be wearing the T-shirt. We need to see it.
yeah. Well, you know what? Here's the deal, man. If I receive it
Hmm.
in time for our Valentine's Day
Hmm.
spectacular, I'll
Sure.
totally
Sure.
rock it. If not, it'll be on air soon enough because I have a lot
Perfect.
of shirts to cycle through. I did one time make a mistake of wearing the same shirt in a couple episodes of the Bada Show, so I beg everybody.
Really?
Yeah, I know. I didn't even realize it. I was like, I never wore this shirt before. I'm gonna wear it, and then
Huh.
I'm looking at our archives, doing a little organizing. I'm like, wait, what did I do? I just ruined it.
Repeat.
I can't believe I did that.
Mm.
Big
We're gonna
mistake.
have to. Yeah, we're gonna have to edit it
What?
to blur
Blur
the
it?
shirt. Yeah.
Photoshop something else on my chest
Pretend you're on Dateline or something. We'll just blur the shirt. Yeah.
to catch a predator? I didn't know she was only 16. Yeah, that's not good. I didn't say that. Strike that from the record. But anyway, yes. Next week, big Valentine's Day vibes.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
this week, love can't be contained. It's a beautiful emotion. I like talking about it. I like living it.
Hmm.
And we're gonna do a callback because I did the unthinkable, Chris. I did something. Listen, I'm a man of my word.
Hmm.
I just mentioned I'm a lover. I'm also very truthful and honest. And it can be considered a fault, but not in this case because last time out we discussed Joe Quesada's Iron Man run and
Hmm.
how much we enjoyed it when it came out.
Sure.
So guess what I did? I went and dug in my long boxes
There
in
you
the
go.
closet to the detriment of my own health and muscles
Hmm. Hmm.
to give it a read. So we're going to revisit that in a wee bit. But
Perfect.
first, I think we should talk more about your shirt.
It's I'm pretty in purple today. Yeah. Yeah.
Discuss.
Yes.
I'm
I was
thinking,
dressed by the wife today.
okay, well, good,
Yeah.
because I'm thinking it's like one of those internet memes where, I immediately claimed it was pink, but it's really purple.
Hmm.
It's like how many years ago they had that image going around about the dress? Like, what color is this dress?
I don't remember that.
You don't remember that? Man, you're so
No.
not hip, not with it. Dude.
I am aware. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Very good. I'm glad you
Yeah.
are aware that you are the most unhip man in America whose wife
It's true.
dresses him.
It's true.
But hey, but still, we'll make a meme out of you somehow. one
Okay.
way or the other, and you'll be wearing that shirt.
Fair enough.
You don't have the same agenda as me, trying to wear a new outfit every episode, like trying to be ultra cool or anything. You just
I don't really think about it.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you could wear back to back episodes, back to back outfits, and not
I'm
even
sure I have.
really. I have.
I probably have. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
I'm very
No,
selfish.
yeah.
I haven't looked to see what you are in fact wearing. When I was like, oh my god, I wore the same shirt twice.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. No, I pulled a green shirt off the hanger today,
Mm-hmm.
and the wife's like, "I don't know, wear this instead." Okay. So here I am.
Did she give
Being
you a
put-
reason?
She likes it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
She ain't gonna watch the show.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I didn't know if
Yeah.
it's like for aesthetic purposes, like with your skin tone, maybe, or
No, she actually likes me in green for that because my eyes are green. So
ulterior
Yeah.
motive.
it's true.
Trying to keep
It's
the
true.
ladies away from banging on the bada bin door. Yeah.
You never know.
Hashtag stud muffin. There's your meme right there. Look at that.
There it is.
Solved in a matter of minutes.
We fixed it.
Indeed, that's what we do. So I guess I teased it. Let's talk about it if you're cool with it.
Yeah.
Joe Quesada's Iron Man run.
Sure.
First things first, though, I do want to establish the fact that it didn't fully dawn on me until I opened it and looked at all the indicia and stuff inside. That it was really, in fact, 25 years ago this book was published.
Yeah, like just a few minutes ago, it's like what was that? 2003?
Dude,
No.
right? It's like, you always hear older people when you're younger. It's gonna go so fast, blink of an eye. In the case of Iron Man, holy smokes, did it ever?
Yeah. Yeah.
And what that did to me mentally was you immediately assign your memories. Like, all right, so last time, because I haven't read it since it was released. Okay,
Sure. Yeah. No, same here.
last time I read this, I was like 22 years old.
Yeah. What was this? 99? So I'd have been 19.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was 99,
Yeah.
trickling into 2000. So, yeah, there you go. 19. And imagine what a different human being we all were at that
Sure.
age,
And hell, it was a different world too.
My God.
Totally different world.
We're going to get into that in a little bit because some of that stuff is
Yeah.
referenced in the Iron Man run.
Sure.
But yeah, so that's like the first total mind screw of the whole thing. Like you or at least in my case, how those memories come flooding back, and I'm like,
Oh, you're trying to reconcile all that. Yeah.
where was I living? What was I doing?
Sure.
Just like everything. My emotional state. I was such a dink. Really, truly. I think I've already established on this show if I met myself in the past and vice versa, we wouldn't like each other very much.
Oh, I'd probably, if I met my younger self, I'd be in jail or perished,
Why in prison?
depending on your, for murder.
Oh, okay.
Or perished if it's like the whole one timeline linear gimmick where you kill yourself in the past and you die in the future because you don't exist anymore.
Oh,
Be one or the other.
you're getting
for
too
sure.
heavy for me, man. I don't know all this butterfly
That's where my
effect
mind's
stuff.
at.
And
Yeah.
I think the Back to the Future time travel explanation is the most my little minuscule pea brain can handle.
Yeah. I'll put my fist through his head and say, "You don't need roads where you're going."
Okay. So anyway, let's get off Christopher's rage and talk more about
Yes.
Iron Man. So yeah, that was like the initial thing. Well, I mean, other than the fact they had to dig them out and it was very physically taxing.
Strenuous?
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, and they had to be at the bottom.
They always are, dude. No, it doesn't matter what book you're looking for. It's going to be on the bottom of
Oh.
a stack of 5 or 6 long boxes. It's always the way.
Oh my God, it was just like it. It was truly a we call it a labor of love to stay
There you
stay
go.
on the whole
Keep on theme.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
But when I did unbury him, just to show you guys how dedicated I am. I didn't just grab Quesada's run. I grabbed like the Iron Man stack from that entire era
Gotcha.
from the box. So it's quite a healthy fat stack here.
It is.
Um,
How far does it go? How far? What's the last issue?
I
there?
bailed on issue number 58, which
Okay.
is
Who was on that?
Mike Grell.
That's where I jumped off too.
Oh, really?
It was like in Camelot or like knights in shining armor and stuff.
Yeah, I wasn't. The last one I just. Well, let me show you. I'm putting things back. I should keep them out because it's heavy. What am I doing here? This is the last issue Yes, I have. So let me Maybe this will jog a few brain cells for you. Yes, no, maybe?
I think I was a little bit after that because it was like
Okay.
a King Arthur gimmick, and then I dropped it, and then I came back to Iron Man when it was like Iron Man Director of Shield or something like
Oh,
that.
okay.
Yeah, and that was bad. And then I came back for Warren Ellis, and that was bad. And then I came back for Matt Fraction, and that was bad. It was I think the Casada, the Busick into the Casada run was the only Iron Man I ever actually dug.
Okay. Right on.
Yeah.
I'm actually queuing up a photo now because there was another
Mhm.
painful aspect of me digging these issues out. And look, the box that I found was like wrapped up in
Sure.
plastic, and I don't think it's been opened in 20, 25 years.
Mhm.
So unfortunately, all the books in there were so compressed. I had just packed so many freaking books in this long box. The one thing that would totally drive me insane happened was that issue 27 of the run actually had some damage on it.
Mhm.
I'm going to show that on the screen now. And I was like, darn, no, now I need to reacquire this issue. And I hadn't even read it yet to determine if it was any good. But
Sure.
the fact is, like, a line next to the spine was enough for me just to go, no, this book is tainted. This is tainted meat. I don't want it in my collection anymore. I need a fresh copy. To which I'm actually going to bring up a little bit later in
Mhm.
a bin diving story, but alas, I do want to bring this up in case this ever happened to anybody else who's
Mhm.
gone back and unburied books from years gone by, and you're like, oh my god, how did this get screwed up? Oh,
That just looking at that bit of the cover here jogs my memory to the fact that Iron Man, the Casada run on Iron Man, was where they first started to like hide the legacy numbering in the artwork.
okay.
So on that page there, on that cover, there should be a number because he was hiding them there before they actually made it official where legacy numbering was going to be like that secondary number on the thing. It was before they even called it legacy numbering.
Okay,
Like
well,
they'd have like the main number in like, black color, and then they'd have like underneath it in gray, I think it was. It'd be like the whatever the legacy numbering would have been.
well,
But I remember Casada was sneaking it into his artwork.
I can say this because oh yes, all right, you're right. So for example here, let me go full screen so maybe this will
Hmm.
show off on the camera a little bit better.
Yeah,
Let me cue it up here. Sorry, I am producer
you're all good.
producer extraordinaire. Producer. I'm talking like I'm drunk because I'm about to show off an issue that has a bottle on it. But right here in the bottom of the bottle, it has a number, 359.
Yep.
And then later here, for example's sake, if you look at Quesada's signature at the bottom, I don't know if you can see that or
Hmm.
not. In
Yep.
very, very small, it says 360
Yep.
in the corner. So yeah, that's a keen eye guy. I didn't even know that was a deal.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Look at you.
Because
Look
he
at
did
you.
that, and then I know Byrne did that in his X-Men Hidden Years.
Oh, right on.
So like, because like that was picking up after X-Men 66, so like a 67 would be hidden like in the rubble of the first issue of Hidden Years, and he would continue that for the run. So I like that kind of stuff. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
that is very interesting. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of Quesada covers, just in general, all the covers that he did on this run were quite excellent.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't know if you're a Joe Quesada fan or not, if you still view it the same way, but I do like his style of art,
Oh, definitely.
and I think it really added to the allure of the book as well. Especially, I think when I was purchasing it back when I was 22 years old, uh,
Hmm.
way back when. Oh, the pain! I really need to talk about something else when it comes to this book, but for some reason, my brain is just hurting so bad with this 25-year-old thing. I'm gonna like never stop talking about it, unfortunately. But yeah, cover is excellent. So let me just kind of dive into the story real quick, if that's permissible.
Absolutely.
For those who don't know, I'm gonna try to keep this spoiler free as much as I can. His armor gains sentience for like a handful of reasons, one of which is a little wonky. And as a matter of fact, there is a contributor to the letters page at the tail end of the arc who complains about it.
Yeah, it's a little
A
clapback.
little, yeah, but this is, of course, a sign of the times due to the Y2K bug. Oh, yes, the Y2K bug, where we thought the world was going to end, elevators would plummet to
Airplanes fall out of the sky.
exactly, every bit of
Coffee pots spit at you.
yeah, right, exactly. I mean, maximum overdrive or something.
Mm-hmm.
But that was part of the reasoning that Tony, his hubris, everything else, he was too busy, being a millionaire playboy, that he wasn't really paying attention to certain aspects of the tech, and it led to his armor being able to gain its own sentience. Now, AI is really a hot topic today, right?
Absolutely.
Because I was going to say, at the precipice of certain parts of it, but really, I guess
I don't even think we're there yet.
well, I don't know. Maybe
We're not even at the start of it. I don't think.
I don't know.
I think it's. Yeah.
I was going to say the inverse. Maybe we're fully in it. I don't know. You know what I mean? Because it's just such a hot topic right now. So it is interesting to see how AI and listen, a lot of comics back in the 90s, early 2000s, when they referenced technology, and with hindsight being 2020, you go, geez, for them it was just a cool word to use, like modem,
virtual reality.
Yeah.
Yep. VR and AI
Right.
were the biggies. Yeah.
But in this arc in particular, when he references AI, he's got a lot of it correct. Jocasta, for example, the former Avenger, the robot Avenger, she is his AI assistant.
Yeah.
And she...
His what we can't say the name, Luther, right? That's yours, right?
Excuse me?
Your little robot that's listening in.
Oh.
Can't say the full name. We could just we'll say Luther
Okay,
instead.
that sounds good. As not to trigger her into asking me questions.
Because I think the last time we talked about Mr. Luther, the ear perked up.
But I will say this, since you brought it up, this is all your fault. I always make sure I say please and thank you, because
Just in case.
when the robot uprising happens, I don't want to be in a gimp suit getting my nut zapped as torture, because they're like, you were rude to us. You know what I mean? So I always try to keep my P's and Q's and everything else intact when just talking to AI or robots or anything, because it's only a matter of time.
Have you ever accidentally cursed at them?
No.
Like I was asking for directions while I was driving, and like it brought up like a Google search of something, not at all directions, and I said, "God damn it!" And it kicked back on and said, "I don't know how to respond to that."
No, clutch those
I'm like,
pearls.
"Oh, damn!" It's like I'm gonna throw the watch out the window.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're totally getting your avocado zapped in Armageddon, buddy. I'm gonna be like living the high life.
Just look at me through the fence.
Yeah.
And,
I was gonna say, I'm gonna have a nice
just
cage
remember me
with nice lining, probably like a little shag carpeting or something. You're gonna be down. Oh boy. So anyway, back to the story of Iron Man.
Yes.
That's the gist. So what happens when his armor gains sentience? Before the show, we were kind of discussing this story a little bit, and I had mentioned like QUESADA mastered the 9-panel page far before Tom King came on the scene. And every issue of this arc starts the same way, with the narration boxes reading the same text. And it didn't dawn on me until you had mentioned this ties so heavily into the Iron Man character, his alcoholism, that you believed it was what?
I thought it might be a reference to a 12-step program.
Right. And that's kind of genius. You know what I mean? And when I was reading these, it didn't strike me. So it's nice to have your perspective on it as well, because that really adds a little element that I appreciate more out of the story. Because, honestly, when you are reading every issue and each page 1 and page 2 starts out the same way, you can think, okay, this
seems lazy.
Or this is beautiful in a way, because it is keeping the arc intact. You know what storyline you're reading. It is a common thread throughout these 5 issues. But yes, it can also easily be perceived as just lazy writing.
Either lazy or maybe a little precious. Yeah.
Yes, precious, right. Actually, this run does have some precious moments in it that I want to talk about in a little bit. But overall, it's a very interesting exploration into what happens when something you create does gain sentience in its own life, because the armor really only wants one thing, and that's Tony's love. And Tony's scared of this thing, you know what I mean? And when he doesn't, he gets rejected, or it gets rejected by Tony, It lashes out. It has tantrums, much like a child, and it sees the world in a very black and white way. Good is good. Evil is evil. Evil must be destroyed.
Like a machine might.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And how it handles obstacles. If it's in its way, I can annihilate it.
Yeah.
So that's really a cool way to look at it too. And yet again, all these years later, I think it holds up very, very well. Now,
Nice.
I don't want to spoil how endings happened and what happened with the armor or anything of that nature. I did get to, because I started here on issue 26. That was the start of Joe Quesada's run. And
Yep.
I've been trying to read one a night because I want to get through as much of the stack as humanly possible. I mean, I dug it out. I deserve it.
Sure.
And I ended up stopping here on issue number 31.
Mhm.
And 31 is actually where Frank Thierry jumps in as co-writer. He
Yeah.
will eventually take over the book from Quesada. And you can kind of tell they're not listed as scripter, plotter, what have you. It's just co-writers.
Just as by.
Yeah, exactly. But you can kind of tell there's a difference in tonality going on there.
Oh, for sure.
But
It,
what's
that
that?
guy was getting gigs all over the place back
He
then.
really was. I remember getting a lot of
Yeah.
his books. His name
Yeah.
seemed like it was on everything.
It seemed like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I did mention there's some moments where this story gets a little cute.
Mm.
It's no secret that Joe Quesada, especially with the launch of Marvel Knights, is a good friend of Kevin Smith,
Mhm.
Garth Ennis, for example. And I noticed some subtle references here. I think I'm going to show off the first one was probably the
Mhm.
most subtle because you really had to be a fan of another comic from the competition to understand what was happening here. But there's a moment where Tony says to Jocasta, "No more preaching. No more. I'm sorry. He says it to the. Does he say it to the armor or does he say it to Jocasta? I can't remember who he says it to. It doesn't
Mhm.
matter. I'm a moron. No more preaching, armor. There we go, armor. I'm a man of science and curiosity." And then they show his face, which is on the screen right now, and he's got this smile, which totally resembles Preacher number one.
Yep.
So I think the whole no more preaching and then that preacher like or esque image
Pose.
pose,
Yeah.
thank you very much, is I was gonna say very much on the nose, which is something I didn't mention, that Tony wears a bandage on his nose the entire
Mhm.
arc because he got punched in the schnoz. So yeah, there we go with that. But yeah, so totally the mentions to the askew verse.
Mhm.
There's even one where he brings up Bruce Wayne, which I find to be a little interesting because, hey, listen, it's always a little cute and funny when they
Yeah.
do those kind of things. Yet again, we're talking about the competition, we're talking about DC. But in this one, his love interest mentions, "Who do you think you are, Bruce Wayne?" So let's get really meta and say Batman
Mhm.
comics do exist in the Marvel Universe.
Or maybe Bruce Wayne exists in the Marvel universe.
Amalgam, baby, amalgam. Um, Another picture I want to show off from this run in is kind of cool is that I don't know if this is very Chris. Should I reveal like what the armor does when Tony rejects him, or is that too spoilery?
I mean, it's an ancient run.
So I have your
I-
blessing.
oh, you have my complete blessing.
Okay, I have your permission. All right, so this is Chris's fault. If you're like, damn, Dave,
Spoiler
you're
alert for the Quesada
there.
run.
You go. You're ruining everything. When Tony completely rejects the armor decides to adapt and starts growing its own like mechanical organs, and
Mhm.
even states that it can create synthetic skin and that it will eventually replace Tony,
Yep.
which is super creepy and so cool. I just thought it was a really neat aspect to this book because it's a superhero book. It's not a horror book,
Mhm.
but like concepts like that can be really really scary,
For sure.
and I thought it was
Yeah.
fairly brilliant. And those
Mhm.
robotic organs will come into play a little bit later in the run. And then the last image I have from the book, but definitely not least because it has the most verbiage on it. John Byrne, eat your heart out.
Mhm.
Now, Tony has to reject people in his life because the armor is threatening them.
Targeting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
targeting them. So he tries to explain to his love interest the reason why he had to shun her so. And the way it was handled in this book is, there's the image of Tony and his girlfriend, and just behind him, the text. And it's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And it rambles. And it's very verbal diarrhea-esque. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I actually found it a wee bit annoying. I really did, man. It wasn't like the easiest thing to read. I'm like, okay.
But I wonder if that was intentional. I mean, it just, because reading it like that, it just seems like a rambly rant, just grasping at straws. It's just the words just surround the entire scene. Maybe it was intentional. Maybe I'm giving too much credit. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, that doesn't make it any more fun to read.
No, I was like,
that's for sure.
And the thing, I've cited in the past that drives me crazy is fill-in artists and stuff. This arc starts with Sean Chen, who was on the book with, guess who? Take a wild guess. Do you know who wrote Iron Man before Joe Quesada?
Are you going to play the song?
I don't know. Depends if you say the name.
Chili?
Oh, yeah. Yes. So Busick was on the book for a while. Roger Stern also did some run a little
co-writing.
Yeah, some issues here. But anyway, my point being, Sean Chen was the artist when the arc started, and then there was a fill-in issue by Althea Martinez, who actually is a fine artist. I like her style very much. She later on becomes the ongoing artist. But yeah, so in this arc, you do get a couple different art styles going on there. Just to warn you if that's like a non-starter for checking out this run.
Also, keep in mind, this is before everything was written for the trade. I mean, it was an arc, but it wasn't written with the express purpose of being a trade just yet.
Yeah, no, that's true.
So that kind of thing mattered less.
I wonder,
I guess, in the grand scheme.
Is there even a trade for this? You think there has to be? But
that's a great question.
I've never come across, and this is what, volume 3?
Volume 3, The Hero's Return.
Yeah, so I've never come across in all of my years a trade of Joe Quesada's Iron Man run.
Let's see, Iron Man.
There we go.
Quesada.
You're the guy in the chair.
Let's see here. Iron Man by Joe Quesada. It is. Yes, it is a. It's on Amazon.
What's the name of the trade? Like, it's gonna have like a.
Iron Man by Joe Quesada.
That's it. Okay.
That's it.
It's not like armor attacks or sentient armor.
It collects Iron Man number 1/2, and 26 through 32, and Iron Man Annual 2000.
Okay.
Yeah, so it does, in fact, exist.
Because I become that human being who doesn't like digging things out, despite the fact I did dig these out, I actually think it's a really good turn of the century superhero story.
Oh, absolutely. It takes you right back.
I would recommend buying it wholeheartedly. Yeah. I really had a good time with this. Even with some of the wonky stuff that I just mentioned, in those images.
I mean, warts and all, of course.
Yeah, but I think overall it's quite a triumph of a book, especially when we can, in fact, look at it this many years later and go,
sure,
I'm really enjoying this. And dude, to be honest with you, I was like eating candy in bed, reading these books and feeling like I was young again, which is such a wonderful feeling. I mean, God, how many times do we bring up nostalgia or how we need those good vibes in our lives, and this provides it. I mean, the candy didn't help either. Don't get me wrong, but just you could have swapped me with my younger self and with that joy, at least. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And dude, it was just great. So I'm gonna keep reading this run. I think I'm gonna go all the way because yet again I did the work digging them all out up until the Grell stuff that maybe turned me away.
I'm trying to see here. I don't own that 1/2 issue.
I do not either.
Yeah.
And it is referenced in this arc because
okay.
One thing about this arc in particular is they mention that Joe Quesada hates editor's notes. So they make sure to put in editor's notes and remark on the fact that he does not like them.
Yeah.
The editor here is Bobby Chase on this book.
That's why them editor notes were banned during or at least lessened to a great extent during his run as EIC.
Yeah. You'd also mention narration.
Narration captions, yeah, they weren't. Narration captions and thought balloons. He had a problem with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
too comic booky.
It's very narration heavy. Comic book,
In
you're
this
not
one,
in this
yeah.
one, especially.
Yeah.
Yes, it is not a problem. Listen, it feels like it's written by a seasoned pro. It's just a
Hmm.
really good run, and I liked Sean Chen's art. I like Althea Martinez's art. I like the concept of it. Again, I
Sure.
think it inspired movies later on. I think
Mhm.
with people who know of the Ultron in the Marvel Universe films and stuff like that. And yeah, totally recommend it. Go out buy. If you and here's the other thing, man. And this is gonna come up later in my bin diving fail
Mhm.
story. They are cheap. They, I mean,
Yeah, for now. Yeah.
for now. Well, I mean, what do you think would bloat up the value on these?
Who knows? Maybe when Quesada's Amazing Comics take off.
Ah,
Who knows?
there you go. When Jocasta appears in the Marvel Cinematic Universe,
Oh,
yeah, but I mean, listen, price guide is right. $2.50. You're gonna be like,
okay. Let's find out.
that.
I'm there now.
All right, good. Check that. Checkity check.
Let's see here. Yeah, you're right. They are not expensive at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not even worth playing. There is one issue.
Okay.
Iron Man number 9. That's $15.
Wow.
But yeah, the entire Quesada run is $3 a pop.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
whether you, it's probably easier to find the single issues in this trade because I've never seen it, even though I want it now.
I'm sure the trade is probably out of print and you go to your half price books, it's going to be $60.
Yeah, you're right, probably. But alas,
Yeah,
yeah, here we are. So you can get them on the cheap.
crazy.
The initial arc is only 5 issues. So, you're looking at folded money in your pocket kind of spending.
Yeah.
It's not going to be, you don't have to mortgage the house to
It
acquire
looks like he
his
he
run.
had a second arc here, a shorter one from issue 33 to 35 called Power.
Yes, so you're right. Well, the thing was,
Or is that a Thierry joint as
well,
well?
here's the thing, and I don't want to misspeak, but I believe they co-write it.
They co-wrote The Sons of Yin Sen,
Yes, which by the way,
and
I
then
started a little. That's when it starts kind of falling off
it
the
was I
rails here.
remember even back 25 years ago, getting through The Mask and the Iron Man, loving it, and then getting to that Sons of Yin Sen and just being bored.
Yeah, let me see here. So this is what I have in my hands right now, issue number 33.
33 Power.
Yeah, let me get to the credits, which aren't in the beginning of the book. So wonderful. I got to go all the way to the back.
Got to spoil it for yourself.
Well, it's been a while. Where the hell are the credits in this book? Come on, I'm live on air.
Don't they
I
know?
know, jeez Louise.
And that arc has art by
Here we are.
Alyssa Martinez and Paul Ryan.
Yes, this one in particular, Joe Quesada and Frank Thierry's story.
Okay, both of them. Okay.
Althea Martinez art. When they art, dude, I like Althea Martinez. I do.
Yeah.
There's a lot of '90s style aesthetics to it, or what have you. But I like her art.
It's almost like a softer turn of the century Wildstorm sort
Yeah,
of
I
look.
can totally buy that. But yeah,
Yeah.
so there we go. So it's not. I don't think it's a second arc. I mean, you said second turn on the book. Is that what you said?
I didn't know if it was a second arc that he had written on his
Oh,
own.
okay. No. I
Yeah.
don't think he does. I think it's just him and Thierry from this way through. But
Yeah.
I'll keep you guys update periodically with my Iron Man reads. We can make it a regular segment on the show and
Yeah, for
bore
sure.
people half to death as I pour through these issues of Iron Man from way back when.
Way back in the long
I
ago.
will.
But
What's that?
oh, good. I was gonna say, when we talked about Aquaman not too long
Uh huh.
ago, we were trying to think up seminal or definitive runs that we would point people to. Iron Man, I don't know that it's a character that either of us are terribly
Right.
uh, loyal to.
Correct.
Um, would you consider this Casada run like someone comes up to you off the street, says, "Hey, I saw you on the Bada Bin show. What would you recommend for someone who wants to get into Iron Man? Would this run be one you'd point them to?"
Absolutely.
Yeah, me too. Me
Absolutely.
too. Because I can't think
No
of
doubt.
I mean, there are the like technically seminal ones. Of course the whole opening. The first essential volume, and Demon in a Bottle, Armor Wars. But that I think this is probably among the best Iron Man that I've ever read.
I think a lot of it too is the staying power of it.
For sure. for
Because how
sure.
many times have you read something that you really enjoyed when you were younger, and you're like, man, this is hokey, or this totally couldn't happen today, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
So it has that to
yeah,
it, and I think that's important because when you're recommending to something to someone, and I mean when you mention that, like someone coming off the street,
yeah.
hey, I saw you on the Bada Bin Show, I immediately think a young comics fan, right? I'm their hero,
Of
I'm their
course.
role model, and
Mm-hmm,
of course I'm
mm-hmm,
someone
mm-hmm.
that you should look up to. So in that case, you want something that can be hip and cool to the young kiddos
Mm-hmm.
out there, and I think this would apply.
I think this is an ageless one. I mean, you could be a fan of any age
Mhm.
and get something out of
Yeah,
this one for sure.
yeah, for real. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And I'm going through my spreadsheet here to like see what other long runs on Iron Man there were. Of course, there's Michelini,
Hmm.
who was on it forever. Denny was on it forever. Len Comiskey was on it a bit. Terry Cavanaugh was on it. Um, Jeff Loeb did some of the Heroes Reborn stuff in the Pocket Universe. We got Chili Dog,
Hmm.
Thierry, Mike Grell was on it for quite a while.
Really?
Yeah. He started with issue 50, and let's see, the last I dropped it during his run,
Right.
so I dropped it. Issue 68 is the last issue of the Grell run I have. I came back for John J. Miller in issue 73, and after, yeah, my gap here, I stuck with John J. Miller. I think that was the Iron Man Director of S.H.I.E.L.D. run. And that one ended for me May 2004 cover date. The next Iron Man comic I bought was January 2013. That was Kieran Gillen for Marvel Now.
Hmm.
I was gone in age. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wild
And that's also
stuff.
a testament to you having no love for the character because you could
Because
drop it
I'd
like
stay
that.
on.
Yeah,
Yeah, I stay on comics that I don't like, and this
exactly.
one I did not.
Yeah.
Wow.
Um,
Crazy.
but you're right. As far as seminal, you think like creators, Bob Layton, right? That's the first name that probably
Yeah.
pops in your head when you're thinking about Iron Man. And
Yeah, Leighton or Michelini.
yeah,
Yeah.
and the thing is too, when you read something like this, it makes you hungry for more good Iron Man stories.
Yeah.
Um, you want to seek those out, kind of like you're jonesing. You're kind of chase that high
Of
of
course.
really
Of
enjoying
course.
this book, and Quesada's run will do that to you. It'll make you think, man,
Yeah.
I'd be more interested in Iron Man if more was like this.
Have you read any recent Iron Man?
When was the last time I read Iron Man? Good lord.
Was he married to Emma Frost yet?
No, no. Dude, to be perfectly honest with you, I think this might have been the last time I ever collected Iron Man on the regular.
Hmm.
And yeah, I hadn't read it since I read him the first time, put him in that box, and let him get packed
Yeah.
up like a kilo of cocaine. So,
I
yeah.
was buying it when it was basically a couple of years ago. It was basically an X-Men adjacent book. Because it tied in with like Hellfire Gala. He was married to Emma
Yeah.
Frost.
Was this the
There was a
Christopher
whole lot.
Cantwell era? I'm sorry for interrupting, but
No, no, this is Jerry Duggan. This is right after
Duggan.
Cantwell.
Okay, great.
Yeah, Duggan took over after Cantwell left,
Hmm.
and it was very much tied into the X-Men. So I bought all those, thinking that there'd be X-lapsed episodes on them, and read a few of them, and mm, you know, it wasn't Casada.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
Cantwell's run is highly
that was
regarded,
good.
you know.
I liked that one.
Yeah,
I
so
thought that was really fun. Yeah, but the follow up, being an X-Men fan, I always like to see, you know, more things abide by the X-Men, but it was, I don't know,
yeah. Yeah, well.
not so hot.
What are you gonna do? Maybe he deserves a mulligan, right?
There you
Maybe.
go.
And Duggan will always get that like buffer from me because of his Hulk run that I enjoyed so much.
That aborted Hulk run,
Oh God.
they cut that thing
But
off
dude,
at the
I
knees.
loved it. I
It was
really
good. It was real good.
and it was like Wade kicked it off, Duggan finished it, and I was like, man, I was heartbroken by that whole
Yeah,
thing.
it was like the classic, shit sandwich. It was because like what came before it was like that like thing where Hulk was basically a guest star in his own
Hmm.
book to Shield. Then it was the Duggan run, which was great, and then it was Totally Amazing or Totally Awesome.
Yeah, it's totally awesome. The Amadeus Cho stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
No good.
I know.
No
I
good.
know, man. I wish they just
Yeah.
kept Duggan's run going, and
Yeah.
adjacent could have done Totally Awesome Hulk as its own thing,
As its own thing.
but no.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, he's always going to have that little, like, if I read something by him, I'm like, but he did the Hulk. He did a Hulk run
Yeah.
I really enjoyed. It's been so many years since I've had like a Hulk
Mhm.
run I totally like devoured like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know.
His Nova was good. I liked his Nova.
Okay.
But he did actually write the worst X-Men story ever written.
Okay. You know
Yeah.
what? You said this
X-Men
before. Which one was this now?
X-Men Green.
Oh, yes, 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 yes.
Oh Lord, this was something else. You have to like try to write something this bad.
Okay. It takes
Yeah.
effort.
It's like it was like an environmental tale where like the environmentalist mutants were killing humans for like using plastic bags.
Okay.
Oh, it was
Just
rotten.
waiting outside of
Rotten
Walmart, ready
stuff.
to slay a few suckers.
Like a 7-Eleven or a Circle K. Yeah, they were getting their slush puppy and
I
killing people for using bags. Yeah.
was gonna say it's like, hey, is that a reusable straw? Is
Yeah.
it? Is it?
That's something that not the reusable straw, but have you ever used the paper straw?
I can't say I remember if I did.
Oh, dude, you would know
Okay.
because the thing collapses like a lung in space.
All right.
In Hawaii, that's all they have is because where they're going to put garbage, so everything has to be biodegradable.
Okay.
So like spoons are kind of like this weird like tongue depressor material,
Yeah.
and straws are paper. And like you take one sip and it's like, thump. So it's like okay, just leave the straw out.
Chew on this for a while.
Pretty much.
I'm going through these piles because it's something I want to talk about later,
Hmm.
and I'm struggling to find exactly what I was looking for. But as I was sifting through these while you were discussing your disdain for the paper straw,
Yeah.
Invincible Iron Man number 55 is a anniversary issue, and you do have that big 400 on
Hmm.
the cover.
And do you remember what happens in that issue?
Nope, not a damn thing. But
Tony gives up his identity to save the life of a dog that runs in front of a car.
hey, man, listen, you're a dog person,
I am a dog.
so
person.
why would you complain about that?
I just think it's silly.
You know what? You're silly.
I am.
You come on now. You love animals. You got
I do.
dogs, and then you think something like that to save a dog is a silly plot point. For
It
shame.
just felt a little too cute.
I cannot find what I'm looking for, which is why I'm a terrible host of a live stream show.
Come on, Bono.
Yeah. So in the interim, you had mentioned you had some ephemera.
I do.
Do you
I
think
do.
that'd be, or this is an apt time to discuss some of the things
Sure,
you'd like to
sure.
show off while I
Why
do
not?
this?
Why not? This is all old stuff because I've had a hell of a week and haven't really done anything comic-y this week.
Okay.
So, this is stuff that I dug out of the closet, and one of the things here is something I thought was going to be really, really cool,
Okay.
and it wasn't.
Oh boy.
It's Fandom Confidential by Kitchen Sink. Something I'd heard of for years on like Usenet and whatnot.
Okay.
And I thought this was going to be like some sort of a callback to fan mags, like the old 70s fan mag scene. No, it is because it even says here introduction by our boy Roy, Roy Thomas here. It's Fumetti.
Oh, nice. All the photographs with the
Oh,
yeah,
goodness,
the
no
titles on
bueno.
captions rather.
Yeah, no good.
Oh.
Not funny.
All right.
But I was expecting like a bit of, I mean, it is a piece of history, I suppose, but I was expecting like actual discussion and stuff and not like an attempt at humor.
What year was
And
that?
it was. Oh boy, let's see here. It was, I gotta put my face into this here, 1982.
1982. I bet you it smells great.
No.
Oh,
not really.
bummer. Man, just throw it in the trash. You don't need that
Yeah.
rag.
And this is Roy Thomas's entire introduction. It's just a little a little blurb
That's
there.
nothing for Roy Thomas.
I mean, he can sneeze that.
I know, exactly, right? That's nothing.
Yeah, but I thought that was I think I found it for like 50 cents in a bin somewhere, and it's like, oh, I've heard of that. It was not so much legendary, but people had spoken about it on the old BBS board, so I thought it might be an interesting thing to own, and I suppose it kind of is. Another thing here, now it's no secret that I've been formatting the blog, moving back from WordPress to Blogger. It's almost there. If you were to click on the site now, it is back to its old orange glory. It is what it was. Thing of it is, since I did everything manually, I copied and pasted everything. Um, Turns out something I didn't account for was the fact that the images were going to be in like a WordPress cloud. So copying them over, even though it looks like they're there, they're not. It's like a ghost of an image. So it's like when I look at my dashboard, my Blogger dashboard, I see all the images. Everything's there. But on the published site, it's just a broken image. It's a broken link sort of thing there. So I'm gonna have to go back and fix that up. But considering what the blog was, this is something I found a while back. Something called Critics' Choice Magazine, and I picked it up because it's X-Men. And what it is basically what I did at the blog, but in print from 100 years ago.
Wow.
This is like a precursor, like a physical Chris's on Infinite Earths blog post where it's like synopsises of what's going on, thoughts, continuity bits, all that stuff, except for the all the images that I would cram into my posts. But it's going through this run of X-Men the way I would do it on the blog. And when was this from here?
Yeah, I was going to ask because that's my thing. What year did that come out?
Let's see here. It was 1987. 1987.
Okay, and who wrote it? Who beat you to the punch?
James Van Ice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like Vanilla Ice?
No, Heiss.
Heiss. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, bummer.
I figure that the H is probably silent.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, I thought this was like a really weird and cool bit. He even had a broken image in his blog. Look at that.
Whoa.
See? It all comes around.
This is truly something else. Call your congressman, ladies and gentlemen.
What a trip.
Yep, Bada Bin has just broke the mold, baby.
But yeah, I when I found this, I looked it up, and there are more volumes of this. Yeah, because I mean, this is number 3. So this James Van Heiss, he blogged in print about the X-Men almost 40 years ago.
Crazy. Yeah. That's crazy, man.
Yeah, I love that kind of stuff because it's like reminiscent of the old Marvel indexes, or I guess DC indexes as well. Those are ones that I remember me and Chris Bailey would talk about them, where it's like you'd always get excited to see them, and then you'd buy them, and you'd look at them and be like, eh.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, oh, why do I own this? Why is this in my collection? This is kind of like that, but I feel like it's a little bit, since it's not a Marvel publication, there's more freedom to actually discuss and analyze and dissect what's going on and do callbacks to continuity, also, errors in continuity, gaffes, dangling plot threads. Because, I mean, that was like one of the hallmarks of that Claremont era was the plot threads. There are still places that talk about the dangling plot threads from the Claremont run, which, I mean, ended 35 years ago. And they're still talking about it. That's pretty cool to me. So I thought that was a fun little bit. My eye is definitely out for the rest of these Critics' Choice magazine volumes. If I find them, I find them. I think that might be some fun holes to fill.
Now, did Vanilla Ice write them kind of well? Were they at least humorous or anything, or like?
They're kind of dry.
Okay.
They are kind of dry, but they are more conversational than like a Marvel index, where it's like you can like almost like smell Jim Shooter's breath over the guy's back, being like, write that now.
Yeah, right.
Whereas this is just like probably some dude at a typewriter in his mom's basement, as the
right.
cliche goes, talking to himself about the X-Men, like I do all the time, or did all the time. That's a kindred spirit. I should look this guy up, see if he's still in the game.
Yeah, totally.
Somewhere.
What are you waiting for? You're the guy in the chair. You're always Googling and stuff. You should look for him right now. Let's get his phone number. Let's call him up.
Yeah, maybe he's in that fandom directory that I.
There we go. Perfect.
Oh God, he might be.
Let's tie it all together.
Yeah.
Nice little bow. Yeah.
Let's see here. James Van Hise, born 1949.
Okay, he's old. Just saying. I mean,
Author of The Real Ghostbusters? No way.
I yeah, you got me, man. I'm a Ghostbusters
Yeah.
fan. At least the films, animated series, not as much, but
Let's see
yeah.
here. Oh, The Real Ghostbusters Omnibus Volume 1.
Okay, he's got
Okay.
credits. He's old. He's
He
got
does.
credits. Perfect.
He does. He might still be in the game.
Yeah.
We'll find out. We'll do more research later on, and we'll come back with more on. Wow, he wrote a lot.
Wow.
Yeah, this dude wrote a
Good.
lot.
I'm glad. I'm glad Vanilla Ice is still very prolific.
He is or was very prolific.
And if I ever
Yes.
meet him, I will call him Vanilla Ice, and I'll see if his fists and his arms still have enough strength to knock my teeth out. You know?
He is an American pop culture historian and comic book author.
Okay.
He started with popular fanzine Rocket's Blast Comic Collector. He was its editor and publisher from 1974 to 1983.
Cool.
How
Can I
about that?
tie something in here real quick? Because
Do it.
I don't think I've mentioned, if you want to reach our show, it's super easy.
There you go.
badabinshow at gmail.com. Like, if you have any thoughts on Iron Man or
Mm-hmm.
blogging or whatever we've talked about now or for the rest of the show. But
Mm-hmm.
interesting little factoid. Last episode, or was it the one before? Geez,
Mm-hmm.
senility is hitting me. I don't know. Maybe I was born in 1949. But I love the
Potentially.
name of the artist, Jim Calafiore. And you did what you just did now. You looked him up on the internet. He's still kicking, still doing stuff. Well, if you notice here, viewers, on the screen, I show our link for Instagram and Blue Sky. Who did I see on Blue Sky and immediately follow but Mr. Jim Calafiore?
There you go.
When the moon hits your eye like a big piece of pie, it's Calafiore. And yeah, so I mean, I don't know what's going to happen with that. Maybe I should reach out to him. It is social media after all. I can't go any worse than when Paris Cullens wrote to me. Or I used to talk to Norm Brayfogle a little bit on Facebook way back when. So,
I remember we had a really nice interaction with Fabian Nicieza one time.
oh, that didn't go so hot.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And I think we had a run-in with Tom King once too. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, Mr. Nicieza, he was what I was referencing when I was talking about writers in the 90s and stuff using like words just to be hip.
Oh yeah, the modem.
Yeah, the modem.
Yeah. Mr. Modem.
Yeah, in New Warriors, where the modem was everything, Thankfully, we have a modem. We can talk to NASA, or whatever. But yeah. So as far as pleasant conversations go, okay, maybe I haven't had a ton. All right, to be honest, like I said, Norm Brayfogle was a very, very pleasant, nice human being. But and I'm only referencing now like chats like that I've had, like DMs or private messages and stuff like that. So yeah, maybe I can reach out to Mr. Calafiore.
I once got a very glowing a message from a creator out there who I'll tell you the name off the air. It was the day after Reggie died. And I got this message saying, "Hey guys, huge fan of the Cosmic Treadmill. Was wondering if you guys would have me on to talk about this book."
Timing a little bit off there, Mr. You-know-who.
Huge fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you that off the air.
Well, it's like we when we were doing reviews and stuff, I wasn't, of course, as prolific as your blog or anything, but I remember there was like what was it with the Superman story? Was it Action 1000? No, what was it? When Scott Snyder wrote that story, what was that anthology?
Unchained? Oh,
I can't remember it now.
Oh, that was 1000.
Was it 1000?
I believe so.
And I did a review of it, and I didn't care for his story. And
it was it like just proving that he's faster than a speeding bullet or something like that?
Well, this one in particular was like the ties with Lex as kids, which happens all the time, right? All throughout the history of Superman.
I reviewed Action 1000.
Okay.
Let me see if I can find my review of it here.
Well, thankfully, it's on the internet for everybody to enjoy in this orange glory. But anyway, he had reached out to me. Was like, "Hey, I'm sorry to hear you didn't like it," and da 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 da. And then I was like, hey man, well, I'm glad you reached out, and maybe you can discuss it more in my podcast. And then radio silence. So just straight up crickets from Mr. Scott Snyder. So he heard the review. He
Mhm.
wanted to know why I felt the way I felt, but then after that there was zero
Jack
back and
Wall,
forth.
huh?
Yeah, exactly. So still a nice guy. He was pleasant. I like his writing
Mhm.
very, very much. But yeah, I mean, as far as if we're bringing up creators that we've had contact with or communications with, he was on there too. So yeah. Have you found the blog post yet?
I'm on it, but I it's kind of all over the place because it was also my 1,000th post in a row.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of bullshit in there
Okay,
too.
we can come back to that in a little bit, I suppose, because
We'll stick pins in there,
stick
I
some
guess.
pins in that sucker like nobody's business.
Yeah, I do. My main complaint about the whole thing, I said,
Oh, you found it. Okay.
let's see. Okay, I'm going to break one of my own rules here. I usually hate it when people start a sentence with, "Am I the only one?" or its cousin, "Is it just me?" But am I the only one who's kind of done with the anniversary anthology? I mean, I understand why they do it. I just can't get excited for it.
Mm-hmm.
There are only so many times I can read a love letter to a character before I just want to get on with a story. So yeah, I bitched about it.
Okay. Did
Yeah.
he immediately reach out to you as he did to me, saying, "Why, man?
how
Why?"
how can I get you to assign a 10 out of 10 to
Yeah,
that?
he didn't technically ask for that. He was just, But yeah, I don't know, man. I also get it because it's something we've complained about with social media and reviewing, where reviewers, and this is kind of a broad statement. I understand. So if anybody out there is like, Dave, you really,
Paint with a broad
yeah,
brush.
yeah, exactly. But I mean, it's people are assigning review scores and giving credit where credit possibly isn't due because they want an in with the creator. They want
Uh-huh.
to keep those comps coming in from the publishers
Of
and
course.
things of that nature. So I've always found a little flaw in modern reviewing. And
Was it you that sent me the review? Oh boy, I don't remember which book it was. It doesn't matter which book it was. But like the grade they gave it was a 9.5, so they'd be at the top of the aggregate. And then in the thing it was like this story felt endless. This was like there's no substance to this story and it's like why'd you give it a
yeah,
9.5?
that's probably I think it was like an AIPT or apt or whatever they call review.
Could be,
Yeah.
could be. But it's like you know why they do it,
Mm.
but it's very disingenuous. It's very it's more the zen and the art of comic book blogging, I
Yeah,
guess.
I think when the
Yeah.
internet was first blossoming,
Mm.
at the same time this Iron Man book was coming out, you know what I mean? Like I would
Mhm.
trust opinions that I read online a little bit more
Oh, sure, sure.
because right
Because
now
you
I
didn't you
trust
didn't
nothing.
expect Joe Quesada to pop in and be like, "Hey guys."
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the message boards, things of that
Yeah.
nature, were quite popular and a great way to vent or discuss things. You are a huge Usenet
Yeah.
archiver and everything
Yeah,
else.
because you would run into like four creators on Usenet
Mhm.
with regularity. It would be Peter David, of course, Christopher Priest, Fabian Nicieza, and Kurt Busiek. Those are the people you'd see on the message boards
Wait,
with
who was
with
that last
frequency.
person?
Ch 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 what?
Who was the last name you just mentioned?
Kurt CD Busiek.
Oh, okay. Okay, continue. I'm sorry. I can't help it. I
Okay.
have this soundboard in front of me. I got to use it. I paid for it. You know what I mean? Come on.
Gotta use it. Gotta use it.
Got to use it.
But yeah, no, that's who you'd see with regularity on the
Yeah.
forums. So if you had I mean, you weren't going to be like, oh, this Kevin Smith story, and like just Joss Whedon story, expecting them to pop in
Right.
and,
Yeah.
and give you the pat on the head like we get today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when I was doing those limited reviews I did write, I would get feedback from people saying, "Hey, man, you can't be like negative. You can't be critical. You can't do this. You
Oh,
can't do
dude.
that." I'm like, "Well, what's the point? What am I doing this for then?" And I was just like, "I don't want to do reviews anymore. I really don't want to put my opinions out there online because if you don't love it, people are gonna like give you flack over it." And
Well, because there's I don't know when the term hater entered the vernacular, but it's like
1784.
okay, so back
Uh
then,
huh.
before that, everything was good. But it's like you can't have a dissenting opinion, otherwise it's not that you just think differently; it's that you hate. And it's like no, that's not true. Um, I was a staff reviewer for a website, briefly, very
Mm-hmm.
briefly, And there was a reviewers forum. It was one of those private message boards where everybody would get together and shoot the shit.
Mm-hmm.
And one writer did not like that they were scored an 8 out of a 10 instead of a 10 out of a 10, and wrote to complain. And the site decided that all the reviews about this person's writing would be sent to them before it was published. And it was like, that really?
I know.
And again, you got to pay to play, or play to pay. You want your comps.
Yeah, you got to bend over and grab your ankles.
You want your gimmicks.
Yeah, I know. Dude, I've experienced very similar
Yeah.
situation when I was doing the reviews, and I wasn't even getting paid for them or anything.
No, same here. Same here. It was just for
It was
fun.
just as a hobby, you know what I mean? But still,
Yeah.
there was like my standards weren't good enough. They were like ultimatums and different things put on me if I wrote something. That's why I was like, yeah, I'm
No.
done. I'm all
No.
set with all that. No, thank you.
No, I think I wrote about this. I don't think I ever talked about it, but I was approached by a site to do a different version of X-Lapsed for a different property. And I didn't think anybody gave a rat's ass about X-Lapsed. So I was excited. I'm like, oh, this could be fun. It's a different property. It's one that I have some familiarity with, and I can actually say I'm lapsed on it, and so I replied to them, and I'm like, okay, this is how I do things. If you want to listen to some of the shows,
Sure.
yada, yada, yada. And they didn't like that I didn't gush about every single book. So they told me that they wanted me to record 3 different shows for everything.
Uh-huh.
One was going to be just like a regular one like I would do on my own feed. Another one would just be like a synopsis. And another one would be what it was like not talking about any of the negatives, only focusing on the positives. And I'd have to record these 3 shows, send it to them, and then they would decide which one got ran. And it's like, I don't ever do anything for pay, but it's like, I'm not getting paid. I have other stuff I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I have my own stuff that I am doing. And it's like, so that's stalled.
You get a billion other people willing to do that. I'm not one of those people.
Right?
Let me tell you a little something about X-Men Green. You know what I mean? Like,
There you go.
exactly. There's plenty of folks out there willing to throw integrity away and just everything else. It's fine. That's okay. Whatever. It is what it is. It's just up to us as readers to determine what is true and what is not true. And unfortunately, more that now than ever, I suppose it's hard waters to wade through. You know what I mean?
We just got a comment from our friend Bill Beer.
Oh,
He says,
Billy boy.
Yeah. He says, reviews seem rigged anymore. I never read them.
Okay.
So many seem to rate a 10 just so they'll get mentioned by the writers and artists.
Exactly. Here you go. We call it the
True.
pat on the head.
100%. The pat on the
Good
head.
boy.
Good dog.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
There you
good
go.
dog.
That's what you get. But
Yep. And you get your gift bags too. So there you go.
and that's why you need the Bada Bin Show, because no other reviewers on the internet will talk about a book from 25 years ago and tell you how good it is when it really is in fact good or bad. Because I'm sure that's what all the fans nowadays are desperate for. They're hungry. Man, I really want to know what this run was like from 30 years ago, and I need these 2 guys to tell me all about it. Well,
we make shows basically for us.
I know.
You're
right.
We are the first viewers. We are the first likes. We're the first everything of this show.
Yeah.
This is the kind of show that, if it ain't lecture time, this is the kind of show I want to do.
Yeah. Right.
This is honesty, and it's I think Chris, you said he's like this is like listening to just a couple of people talking at a comic shop. And that's all we ever endeavor to do.
Chewing the fat, baby.
That's it, cutting it up.
That's it. Even though I'm far more stylish than you are.
Of course.
Much more dapper, but again,
true.
alliteration, dapper Dave. It is what it is. So, all right, man. Now that we've had our little tangent about reviewing, we've discussed your ephemera. I did locate some of my show and tell for something I'd like to talk about next. Are we ready to move on?
I like it.
Okay.
I like it.
Tuesday, I decided to go on a hunt with my pal Bada. I've mentioned Bada many times in the show. We hunt together now, which is very interesting because for so many years I was a solo predator.
Mm-hmm.
When
Mm-hmm.
I'd hit the bins, and it was like a foreign concept to me. Like, I can't hunt with anybody else. I mean, I want all the comics for me. I don't want any noise. I need to focus. I need to do my thing. But
You don't want the
but
competition.
there we go. But now that Beto is,
You don't want an uncomfortable car ride home.
yeah, damn it.
You grab that
Yeah,
one.
see, but that's not the case with Beto. You see, now that Beto has entered my life, I found myself not liking solo hunts. It's a much better place to be with my bud
Mhm.
Beto. And so we're like, hey man, yeah, we both got this day off from work. Let's go hunting. And our main goal was to hit a shop that I mentioned that I go to quite a bit that I enjoy here in the Dallas area. Well, unfortunately, 5 minutes before we left, I decided to Google the store and it was closed. I'm like, damn,
Okay.
closed on Tuesday. So now we got to pivot. We got to think about where we want to go and what we want to do, what the time constraints are, because, he's got places to be. I got things to do. We're, busy beavers. So we only have like 2 hours to achieve our digging goals. So putting our minds together, we decided to go to this company called Movie Trading Company. They are also known by the name Vintage Stock. So if you walk into a vintage stock or movie trading company, they are completely interchangeable. The layouts are the same. The only thing different is the name. And I do believe Vintage Stock is the parent company. So we decided to shop at the Redheaded Stepchild. The reason why we decided on this store in particular was I was like, their back issue prices aren't necessarily the greatest, but they do have a lot of variety as far as like action figures and other stuff like that
Mhm.
with bins. So, maybe if I don't find something for me, I can get something for my kid or whatever.
Sure.
Plus, the expectations came way, way down. So, when we're not going to dig at the store that we wanted to dig at. My number one goal to acquire anything on that day was, in fact, Iron Man number 27, the issue that I showed earlier in the show that has a dent in the cover. I'm going to show that on the screen again here in a second because it is still, in fact, driving me absolutely insane. But I'm like, you know what? If I can at least find that in decent condition, everything is worth it. Everything today is right as rain if a new, fresher copy of Iron Man 27 pops into my grubby little paws.
Mhm.
All right, so we walk into Movie Trading Company, and first thing I hit is,
I'll be right back.
oh, okay. I
Keep
I will
going.
yeah, I will keep going. I'm going all the way, baby. Um, is to hit the Iron Man section of the back issue bins. So doing this, what do I see immediately right off the jump? But Iron Man 27. Hell yeah. This validates everything. It is all, in fact, worth it. I grab it. Couldn't grab it fast enough. I show Beto. Ha ha. Look at what I have. This is all I wanted. No matter what happens from this moment forward, it's all cake. It is easy street, baby. And we notice they have a sign. Buy 10 books, get $10 off on all back issue comics. So then the goal immediately becomes now I need 9 more books, baby, because I want my discount. If I'm shopping here and I feel the cost of the back issues are a wee bit too high to begin with, of course I want the discount. I want the promotion, right? So Beto proceeded to dig. I proceeded to dig, and as I was going through the bins, I noticed some of the Superman issues were actually like $1.99. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, if I get 10 $1.99 books, there we go, $20 with $10 off. Oh yeah, baby, this is great. This is exactly the kind of deal that I'm looking for. This is exactly what I want. Um, so yeah, we spent like the next hour, 20 minutes, both digging, and we're struggling, man, struggling to come up with those 10 books. Like, I'm asking him, how you doing over there? And he's like, well, I think I might have more than 10, but I don't want to spend too much. Because, listen, Tuesday isn't payday, right? So we got to be frugal. We got to be at least a little conservative as far as how much we want to spend. Um, so he's got a little bit too much, and he's concerned about that. I have a little bit too little, and I'm kind of struggling with that. And we're looking at our watches, going, man, we really got to hit the road soon. Otherwise, we're going to turn into a pumpkin and get in trouble with whether it's our significant others or in my kid. I got to be home. He's coming home from school, and he's like, "Well, I'm going to meet you at checkout." Okay, I'll meet you at checkout, pal. And I'm looking at my stack and I'm going, geez, man, some of these books are like $6. Some of these books are $1.99. Some are $2.99. I can't do math in my brain. I'm not smart enough for this stuff, but I really want that $10 discount. But you know what? Cooler heads prevailed. I go up in line and I have 2 books in my hand, just 2, to which I dug out and I have right here, which I will show you all momentarily. Let the mystery thicken as I show you the backs here. And I'm like, Bada, what'd you grab? He's got 2 books. Kismet. It is fate. We wasted our time digging trying to get this discount for both of us just to walk to the checkout line with 2 books. Okay, fast forward. We're happy with what we decided to buy, with the price that we decided to pay. I get home, my wife is there, and I say, hey, babe, let me detail a little bit of my hunt for you. And I mentioned the whole thing about 10 for 10, how me and Beto both struggled in various ways to achieve this goal. And she looks at me and goes, why didn't you guys just grab 5 books apiece, have one person check out, and then you would have gotten that $10 discount, and you would have saved money, but you came home with 5 books instead of 2 books. Wouldn't it have made life a little bit easier, a little bit better? So, of course, I immediately text Beto, and Beto's like, oh, duh. We're not the brightest crayons in the box. And I'm like, no, we're not at all. And it kind of hurts me a little bit because I did leave a couple borderline books I wanted to get back in the bins. And I think the main thing I got to point out here is, because I let off with it in such a grandiose fashion, I further examined that Iron Man 27, and it had some dings in the spine and everything else. And I'm like,
It's always hard with a white cover.
Dude. Yeah. I put it back. I'm like, you know what? If you love it, set it free. It'll come back to you. Or like the fish wasn't big enough, so you got to set it free in the water to grow. And what I did come home with, I am very happy with. It's just, I really wanted that Iron Man 27. That's bothering me so bad. So let me show you what I got real quick here. I did grab an Adventures of Superman book to fill a hole in my run. Now, Adventures of Superman, the holes that I have left are very tough for me. And the reason why, a lot of them aren't great. And so unless they're like $1 or below, I really have a hard time mentally, justifying spending any money on them. Because they're, despite the fact how much I love Superman, how much I want to finish this run, I also got to be like, well, and this was $2.99, I believe. No, $1.99. I'm sorry. Look at me. This is $1.99, and actually, this has a
cover price
banger of a cover too, man, by Mr. Tom Grummett and Dennis Rodell. So, and it's got Parasite, and Electric Blue Superman is sucking the life out of him like nobody's business. It's actually a pretty good issue. Carl Kessel written issue. So I was happy with this. I'm like, this is cool. Cover pops, looks great, fills a hole, bing, bang, boom. The other book that I decided to buy was $2.99. And as a character I'm not crazy for, but sometimes, you know what? People will do strange things for a cameo. And I picked up this issue of Firestorm. This is 90. Yes, 90. And by the creative team of Ostrander and Mandrake, who famous for Spectre, for example. But the reason why I got this was the last page. Guess who's in the book? Chris, Swamp Thing. There you go, baby. You got me.
It said elemental on there, and I think they tried turning Firestorm into like a fire elemental.
This is the
toward the end of that.
I can't hold it in front of the screen right. Remember when Firestorm looked like a weird, like horned? I don't even know. He's got those doily wrist things going on there. Yeah, not so hot, but
he's got the Hank McCoy haircut.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly right. He's like Wolverine eating a heart out. My hair is on fire. So I picked this up, and what I spent, I think it was like $5.32, and I don't carry cash with me ever. But for a weird reason, which I won't go into today because I don't want to bore you half to death, I had like $6 in my wallet. So it was perfect. I spent that.
Didn't even have to swipe.
I no swiping. Right, exactly. That was it, man. That's all I had to do. So that was the haul from the hunt. And anybody who follows our Instagram will be like, Dave, you had some cooler books in that pile that you took a photo of.
I was just about to ask you, what did you leave behind?
There was a Superboy issue The New Adventures
Hmm.
of Superboy that has yet again Terra Man, a little cameo of Terra Man in it, but they wanted
Okay.
like $6 for it, and
Mm.
it's funny because nothing annoys me more than people who don't read instructions or signs. And
Hmm.
I actually opened it and I'm like checking it out. I'm like, well, this page is bent and it looks wrinkled and this and that. I'm like, $6, yet again, it said it free. And then I noticed a sign: please do not open the bags.
There you
But
go.
you know what? Let me tell you something, movie trading company. I put in the years. Okay, when I open a bag, it's because I intend to buy something. So man, I use like
But if they let you do it,
okay, whatever. But listen, all right, slow your roll because I
oh,
gently hold that thing softer than a newborn babe. When I examine a book, yet again, it's my intent to buy it. So there is no way in hell I want to do any further damage to it. I'm not reading it. Um,
did they let you? Did they let you bring it up to the counter and open it?
Apparently, that's what they want you to do.
Okay.
They
Okay.
want you to bring it to the counter so someone behind the counter who knows nothing about comics can open it and flip it around and toss it like a pizza. Hey,
You, it's
pepperoni,
funny.
California. Yeah.
Not to cut you
Hey, go
off,
for it.
but me and my wife went to a used bookstore. My wife's a vinyl collector.
Yes.
Um, and on the wall she sees a like a Gwen Stefani album she's wanted for a long, long time,
Okay.
and it was like it's long out of print. It's like $70.
Ooh,
And she's like, "Oh, I want to take a look at that. I want to make sure that it's, not scratched. I
sure.
want to make sure the art's good. If I'm going to spend that kind of
Yeah.
money." But you're not allowed to open them, so you had to get a employee to do it. And like the employee like pulls the tape off, pulls the record up, lets go of the tape. It smacks on the back of the album. She's pulling the tape off. It's pulling artwork off the album, and my wife's like, "No, keep it." It's like ridiculous.
Exactly, though.
So you're right. The people up at the counter who know
Yeah.
nothing and care nothing about comics are just gonna, who knows what they're gonna
Be
do.
like, man, listen, I'm 46 years old. I started reading comics when I was like 4 or 5 years old.
Hmm.
Give me a break here. If anybody can open a book and like look at the book before they inspect it before they buy it, it should be me. You know what I mean? And you just mentioned I'm a bada bin celebrity,
It's true.
debonair. I'm handsome, charismatic. I got all these great I'm a lover. I got all these great qualities about me. Let me open the damn book. You know?
They should know.
Yeah, but I had that. I was on the fence with that Iron Man 27. Like that was the last one to leave my grasp before I left because I
Uh-huh.
really wanted to bring it home because it did not have that dent in the side.
The crease,
Oh,
yeah.
oh my God! Can you see my face? The frustration. I'm in pain thinking about
Hmm.
this. And you know what? I feel like it's my fault for the way I pack my books. But to be honest with you, I think it's easier to blame the white cover, as you had so aptly stated earlier.
Oh, white covers are
Yeah.
lousy with, blemishes and imperfections. They're real hard to hide there.
Something else I failed to mention when I was talking about the Iron Man read is, and this is a wonderful thing no matter what era comic books you're deciding to revisit, but these, of
Hmm.
course, hit a nostalgic sweet spot for me, are like the ads. And of
Hmm.
course, at that point, I mentioned it was so much better being a comic fan on the internet. But this is
Hmm.
also the advent of websites, and
Oh yeah,
like
all these defunct
a lot of
websites,
them, yeah. But even then,
Yiddig Diddig or whatever.
right? Yeah, yeah. But even then, there's some that are still around today. Like my comic shop advertises in there where I
Hmm.
get my comics and things of that nature. Mile High Comics, of course, is talking about their website and visit our site for
Yeah.
Amazon auctions. That was a big one
Oh God.
with Mile High Comics. Our most
Okay.
trusted
Okay.
site for auctions is Amazon, and I'm like, yeah, you can't do any auctions on Amazon now. No
No.
way, no how. But yeah, it's kind of fun to look at those things and what have you. But yeah, so that was a fail as far as me bin diving, which again, it's just a testament to my mental acuity or lack thereof. Um, yeah, so that's that. I kind of lost my train of thought because I'm old. I wasn't born in 1949 like Vanilla Ice,
True.
but I'm just
No.
trailing off.
Hmm.
So anyway, what do we want to discuss next? What's next on the agenda?
Um, I got an interesting email from our friends at
Oh,
Tomorrow's.
you know what? Great. Yeah, let's discuss that real quick.
Yeah.
I like it. Good
Yeah.
thing I asked you because I was probably going to launch into something really dumb.
Oh, you never know.
I know.
This might be really dumb too.
Well,
Who
let's see.
knows? Now, we talked. I don't remember which episode it was, about the Diamond kerfuffle, the Diamond Michigas, Diamond declaring bankruptcy or filing for bankruptcy. I don't think they just stood on a roof and yelled bankruptcy. Um, but we talked about this off the air, where it's like, I don't think we thought about all the things that this affects. I think when a company declares bankruptcy or files for bankruptcy, we think about that company only. We really don't think about the stakeholders, the shareholders, the people who depend on that company. And so I got an urgent email from Tomorrow's. Urgent, Tomorrow's Publishing needs your help. And it says, "Hi, Chris. Diamond Comics Distributors has filed for bankruptcy without paying for our December and January magazines and books, leaving us with enormous losses. And we still have to cover our expenses on those items and keep producing your favorite publications. Until payments from our new distributor," and that's Lunar, right?
You are correct.
Say, until those begin in a few months, they're only staying afloat with web store sales. And I didn't think about this. I didn't think that Diamond filing for bankruptcy, I mean, it should be obvious to anybody who's ever learned anything about bankruptcy, is like, they're stiffing these people who've sent product to them. You know, that product that they'd promised to purchase and distribute. It's It makes you take pause here, because I mean, I don't know that Tomorrow's is a huge publisher.
No,
I mean, we know about
right.
them, but we're in the bubble.
Yeah, exactly.
But then you think about, like, I don't know if we've talked about Diamond Previews catalogs from back in the day, and still, I guess, up till recently.
Mm-hmm.
There are tons of publishers in there. And I gotta wonder how many of these very, very tiny publishers, how many of these garage publishers, right, are in the same boat right now. Where, like, their dreams and aspirations of being in the comics industry, they did the work, they put in the effort, they hired people, they produced a product, and now they're not getting paid for it.
Right. And I mean, when we discussed this last time out, you know, we were pretty straightforward in admitting, like, we don't know what we don't know.
We don't know.
You know, so when we discuss it, we're discussing it basically from the fan element, what we think it could be and what have you. And as far as bankruptcy, knowing anything about bankruptcy, the only thing I am aware of is that back in the late 90s, coincidentally, my friend Bill decided to declare for bankruptcy. And what he did was, and this is great, he ran up credit cards buying laser discs, margarita blenders, and any kind of random thing someone in their early 20s would totally want to party and have a good time. So in many ways, that is someone that you should be aspiring to be, because
paragon of virtue.
Just running up, dude, that laser disc collection was insane. Okay,
I believe,
dude, it was a beautiful thing. But yeah, you know, as far as like how it impacts smaller publishers, how much money they owe, is a big deal, because you know, you're hearing now what you're saying about Tomorrow's, where they owe them money for those magazines. Well, imagine the big publishers, the millions upon millions of dollars that they owe.
But I think there's a lot more slush in the bigger publishers.
Okay.
Where, like, a company like Tomorrow, because I mean, comics as an industry is hurting, of course. Magazines as an industry is dying. We were looking at prices for these books before we got on the air. Like, the next issue of Back Issue Magazine is $11. $11 for an 80-page magazine.
It's very expensive.
I mean, that's a high barrier of entry.
Yeah, you're right.
And you got to imagine, if they're charging that much, there isn't a whole lot of margin on it. You know, they're not. I don't think Roy and Michael Urey are trying to make $8 an issue. I think they're trying to put out books and make something to keep the lights on.
It's also a very glossy production. It's not like it's cheap paper or anything of that nature.
It's not. Yeah, it's not newsprint.
Sheet-fed.
It's a magazine. Yeah, but it's like, it's an expensive product. It's a niche product, and I mean, I got to imagine that the circulation isn't huge. So whatever they have is being distributed by Diamond, and they're not getting paid for it. That's crazy.
No, and I hear what you're saying. You know, the big
Yeah.
two in particular, they are parts of these huge
Yeah, and they can write
corporations.
things off. I
Yeah.
mean, they basically are write-offs for Disney and Warner
Yeah,
Brothers
right.
at this
Yeah.
point. So it's like, it's
Mm.
wild.
Yeah, so
Yeah, but
everybody's
I'm
getting
thinking of
hurt.
like, the tiny company that's putting out 3 books and they're paying local artists $10 a page, and I mean they're basically gambling on themselves. They're gambling on their own mortgages and rent checks, and now they're not getting paid for who knows how
Yeah.
long. And who knows how quickly. I mean, Tomorrow's not a huge company, but big. So I figure a company like Lunar, who's going to take on the distribution, okay, they know these people. These are pros. This isn't some guy in his garage who's gonna have to eat macaroni and cheese for the next six
Nothing wrong
months
with mac and
because he
cheese.
wanted to put a comic book
Yeah.
out. Yeah, so the Lunar might not be so keen on picking up everything.
Hmm.
They might not have the infrastructure to pick up everything. Who knows?
Yeah,
It's scary
it's
stuff.
definitely an onion, right? The more you peel, the more you
Oh yeah,
weep. Uh,
of course.
Even though, how are we affected as fans, but how people in the industry, of course, are being ripped off left and right. And
Mhm.
I don't know if I brought this up last time we discussed it, how, ego has a lot to play in everything, wherein hubris,
Hubris.
yeah, when you are Diamond, you are king of the castle
Yeah.
for decades.
When you're Geppy, yeah,
You are it. And so when the big two leave you, you're like, well, they'll be back. They're going to go,
because it's happened
yeah,
before.
they're going to go, have a little dalliance with whoever
Yeah,
else, but, they're going to know who their bread and butter is. And then when that
yeah.
doesn't
Or they're
happen,
not going to leave us
yeah.
completely.
And then when that doesn't
Yeah.
happen, you're like, well, we are who we are, so we can pivot. And
Hmm.
that hasn't been working out either, and it just keeps getting worse and
No.
worse and worse. I talk about the onion or the snowball or whatever. I mean, it's not
Yeah.
it's not a good situation, and I really just think Diamond's dead. It's gonna be dead.
How? I mean, even if they could come back, who's going to trust them?
True, very true.
Yeah.
So that be that for Diamond. It was I don't know. It's not like I can say I have a lot of love because that's the theme I've been going with for the last
Hmm.
hour and 26 minutes for Diamond because they are the company behind the curtain for many things, and of
Sure.
course they will pull on the strings for a lot of things. But now other avenues have been struck, whether it's Lunar, as you had mentioned, or Penguin House, or these
Mhm.
other ones.
Yep.
The world keeps spinning, baby. And
Does.
we might be talking 10 years from now on Bada Bin episode 2050. Like, hey, remember that whole diamond controversy? Yeah, who the hell were they? You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
they still owe Tomorrow's money. That's what's up, you know?
They didn't pay for that dingbat love book.
Right, exactly, right. So, yeah. But yeah, I don't know, man. I just don't know. And since I don't know
Yeah.
anything, I think it's good that we move on.
Let's
Otherwise,
do
I'm
it.
going to keep just kind of grumbling. Oh, whatever. Let's dive into new books. How's that sound? Because
Do it.
Daddy just got a new shipment in yesterday. So the
Hey,
fresh
perfect time.
catch of the day is here. And I read a few books last night, 4, I think, to be exact. So I don't know if I'm going to show off everything I bought. Maybe I will. I mean, let's see how spontaneous I feel. I definitely
There
want
you
to
go.
talk about the things that I did, in fact, read, though. So we'll start there.
Let the music move you.
Indeed. Let the music play. Fantastic Four got away. So yeah, Fantastic Four, issue 28. Help me. Cover where it doesn't easily. Oh, right at the bottom. Hello. Yes, issue 28. I am
Mhm.
correct. Now, Fantastic Four has been talked about quite a bit on this program. As I have
Mhm.
stated, it's kind of like the Marvel book I've always wanted, especially for the Fantastic Four. It can be a little silly. It can be a little bit heady. It can be a little bit of everything. Fantastical, pun intended, and sci-fi.
Mhm.
And that's something I really want out of this book. Well, if you didn't notice from the header here, I mean, I didn't show it off right.
Crossover.
Crossover book, and that is for the One World Under Doom event, which is also being helmed by the writer of this title, Ryan North. Now, I'm weary, right? Because listen, I'm not all in on this crossover. I didn't
Sure.
get anything else involved in this crossover.
Did you even get the main
I
book?
did not. I
Okay.
got Fantastic Four, and then whatever else that
Mhm.
happens to tie in with the Marvel Universe. So
That you just happened to. Yeah.
whatever is just, yeah, exactly. So in some aspects, I mean, when we were kids, that just happened because you just bought whatever was off the rack. You didn't have an agenda with your checklist. Some
Sure.
did.
Yeah, you're not getting all of the Evolutionary War or all of Inferno or yeah.
Exactly. But with this, I'm like, well, I don't know, man. Am I going to be confused? Am I going to be, what? Listen, nobody's excited about crossovers anymore. Let's just be honest with each other. It's just us talking here. Nobody needs
Hmm.
these things. It is a vanity project, these freaking crossovers. Um, so yeah, I'm like, well, am I going to be lost right out of the gate? Am I going to be confused? What's happening? And I'm very disappointed and I'm very sad because from issues 1 through 27, I have totally enjoyed this book in varying
Okay.
degrees, but still, the baseline is I've enjoyed it.
Sure.
28, I did not care for at all. And is it because it's a
Hmm.
tie-in? Not necessarily.
Okay. How tied in is it?
It is fairly tied in.
So you need
Well,
context,
okay, no, no,
or
no.
is it
It's tied in, and I say it's fairly tied in. But when I say context, listen, dude, One World Under
like
Doom.
you're not missing anything? Like
It's been established that Doctor Doom is now the Sorcerer Supreme, and I made sure
okay,
because listen,
I didn't know
oh,
that.
well, how many times have you opened in a book and you didn't read that first summary page? Like it's always in the beginning,
Oh, all the
all the
time.
time. So this one, I
Yeah,
made sure
yeah.
I
There
checked
you
that
go.
out, and so what I'm getting at is, I think it's pretty cut and dry, no matter what the
Okay,
story would be, because One World Into Doom, Doom takes everything over. I mean, how many
is what it is. Yeah,
exactly? How many times have we seen
yeah.
this Secret Empire? Hydra takes over. Anything? God, stop me before I
The alien invasion of Tuesday, the alien invasion of
right.
Wednesday,
I was
the
gonna
alien
say,
invasion of
please stop me
Thursday.
before I ram my head into the computer and cause damage. But yeah. So what happens in this book is Reed is really struggling to understand magic. He's a man of science, but he thinks because Doom now with Sorcerer Supreme powers, that's the only way they're going to be able to defeat him, to have an advantage over him. He
Sure.
has created a dome over Latveria, a magical dome that is repelling any forms of science to
Mm.
penetrate it. And what Sue recommends to him is to visit the Black Knight, Dane Whitman, because Dane
Hmm.
Whitman is a man of magic, but he also has
The Ebony
the
Blade.
Ebony
Yeah.
Blade. Exactly. They visit with him, try to come up with some, alternatives or what have you, in a way to
Hmm.
combat Doom, because they're not really sure what he's up to under that dome. Um, and it becomes a time travel story to which they
Okay.
even reference Quantum Leap in here. And as someone who likes Quantum
Hmm.
Leap,
Great
great
show.
show, but I'm like, I don't know, man.
Also a very old
Very
show.
old show, yeah. Not 1949 old, but they end up visiting
No.
World War One in here because they are searching for a weapon that they need. Um, they believe would be the key to their success. So lo and behold, towards the end of this book, and I apologize.
Is it the Spear of Destiny?
No, not the Spear of
Oh,
Destiny.
okay.
And I do apologize if I am a little too overly spoiler-esque with this because that's something I'm always trying to avoid as I talk 55 miles an hour. But it turns out their hopes and dreams and plans are thwarted by who else? None other than Doom, who has been pulling the strings behind their quest the entire time. And when they return to the present time, what has happened? Doom is no longer under the dome. He has conquered the entire world. So Sue and Reed are like in Times Square and everything is Doom centric. Doom on the Jumbotron, Doom this, Doom
Hmm.
that. I thought this issue was pretty sloppy. And I'm saying this not just because of the tie-in, but I mean just in
Hmm.
general the storytelling. I don't think the
Okay.
humor hit very well. I think all the aspects that I find appealing to Ryan North's writing kind of
Hmm.
were iffy or on the fence here, which leads me
Was he the sole writer
he
on it?
is, which leads
Okay.
me to think maybe his attention is on the One
On the
World Under
big
Doom book.
deal.
Yes,
Okay.
and being a tie-in issue that he's responsible for because he is the writer of this book first and foremost. It kind of
Sure.
feels a little phoned in.
Yeah, you could kind of take it for granted. I mean, it's if you want everything, you're gonna buy it.
Yeah, yeah, true.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, this might be the first issue of the new run of Fantastic Four where I'm kind of like, listen, it had
Thumbs in the middle.
more leaning towards down
Okay.
because it does have some merits, but overall, it was not the most enjoyable read I've ever
Gotcha.
had. Um, I don't want to double dip on these, so I'm going to break them up with something. So I guess I'll talk about this one first because I do have a couple Superman books to discuss. And this is the Superman Lex Luthor special one shot.
Okay.
Joshua Williamson and Eddie Barrows. Eddie Barrows is not an artist I particularly care for. Not to say he's bad, but his style is, a little realistic looking. I don't know. That's a weird way to put it. It's too realistic for me. I don't like it. But there's a reason why I think he was on Action with Gail Simone, kind of doing like the Neil Adams inspired stuff. So I've never been favorable to his, line work. But to be honest here, I thought it was very, very solid. That's what I do. I had to tear him down before I bring him up.
Build him back
there
up.
we go.
Yeah.
This whole thing with Lex Luthor having amnesia after the House of Brainiac and essentially being a good guy was very intriguing to me. And I thought it was something, I think we've even brought this up on the show before, that I kind of hope they would stretch out a little bit longer.
I think we talked about it off the air.
Okay, maybe it was.
Yeah.
We can...
because it's novel. It was interesting. It was different. It was fun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's something that...
I'm guessing it's short-lived.
Very. How many times have we said we'll put a pin in something and we don't remember what we're going to put the pins in? So to not remember if we talked about this off or on air is very bada bin.
On brand.
Yeah, on brand.
Yeah.
Bada bin brand. Copyright.
Bada brand.
So this... Not a lot of action happens in this per se, but it is more about Lex discovering who he was prior to the House of Brainiac, and even himself doubting and talking to Superman and people around him like, do you want him back? Do you need him back? Because there is something happening in the DC universe that needs his special breed of evil intelligence. That is brought to Superman's attention by Mr. Terrific, who, by the way, still has the worst jacket in comic books. Fair play jacket is the lamest thing I've ever seen. I'm sorry, I can't get over it.
Didn't he shoot Tony Soprano, though?
Yeah, well, maybe. The members only jacket. But it was a solid book. I like this. Even though I'm disappointed that, again, the semi-good, more, hero inspirational Lex Luthor, decent dude.
Just nice guy.
Nice guy. Thank you, dude. I was like I had marbles in my mouth trying to explain that. Couldn't you just jumped in 37 seconds sooner?
I should have.
You should have.
I think it was the date night issue of Superman where like Lex pops in on Mercy and like asks if she wants to have a cup of coffee or something, and it was just so refreshing to see something different.
Yeah.
And it's like this Lex with like a full beard and still bald, but a full beard and. Just like, oh, let's do this.
Yeah.
Like, that's weird. And I liked it.
And even here, there's a scene where he's with Mercy. He's enjoying ice cream. They're just enjoying a walk in the park.
Maybe it was ice cream. No,
this was ice cream in this one. You were right about the coffee.
Oh,
but someone recognizes him and then throws their drink on him.
Because he's a dick.
You're a bastard. Like, you caused this and that, And then he's just trying to say, I'm sorry, that wasn't me. But it was him, you know what I mean? And he realizes that the duality of everything, and Superman actually has to step in and be like, guys, take it easy. Like,
was he still president?
In the continuity? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. So there's actually like a nice little artist montage of Lex in here in the various eras and the president.
And President Lex is there. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so, but yeah, I really enjoyed that. It's slow, it's mellow, but I mean, I know what it's building to. And I appreciate it. The one complaint I would have is that I think, and don't quote me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure, I'm going to have to open this to find out, they cited to be continued in Superman like 24 or something.
Okay.
Yet this current release of Superman is only 22.
22.
So let me make sure I'm right, because I could be wrong. Maybe it does say Superman 22. I just don't want to give you the wrong information. But I found it weird because it does feel very disjointed with the current issue. Yeah, to be continued in Superman number 24.
Oh, they're putting a pin in it.
Yeah, but there's references to Lex in the memory in issue number 22. So they came out at the same time.
Yeah, incongruous. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes. See, you just speak for me. Speak on my behalf, Chris. Please. Okay, breaking things up, I want to talk about a character that I have really very little interest in, but the creative team brought me onto this book, and the price point is freaking excellent. And that's Deadly
Hmm.
Tales of Gunslinger Spawn. And I
Okay.
think I talked about issue one during one of my last shipments. And
I think
yeah, and it
so.
wasn't bad. It wasn't like, wow, it didn't knock my socks off, you know? But Jimmy Palmiotti, how weird and coincidental is it that we're talking about
Yeah.
Joe Quesada?
JQ and
It's
JP.
like Matt
Yeah.
Damon and Ben Affleck, right? Peas and
Hmm.
carrots. But he had a great run on Jonah Hex. So when he was
Hmm.
announced that he was doing the Western Spawn, I'm like, hey man, Gunslinger Spawn, I'll check it out.
Hmm.
This was pretty much a letdown for me, and I wonder why. The reason why I'm saying I wonder why is because I am so not initiated in any of the Spawn lore,
Okay.
to which I'm not entirely sure if some of the things I find weird or odd are referencing Spawn stuff, or if they're just
I, I
thrown in.
I can catch you up real quick.
Okay, please do.
It's later the same day.
Ah, okay. All right, one day.
It's like issue 400, and it's like he's still yelling Wanda at the end of the
Okay.
issue.
Yeah, this was just, I thought it was very I don't know if I used this to describe anything before, so I apologize if I use the same term twice. Uh, Disjointed. It just felt weird and
Hmm.
awkward reading it, and by the end of it, it was totally almost like, did I just complete a chore? Which is unfortunate
Mm.
because I like Western books. I
Sure.
thought, or I think Jimmy Palmiotti has his moments.
Is it Palmiotti in gray
No,
or just
just
Palmiotti?
Palmiotti on this. And the
Okay.
artist, I'm sorry, I can't remember his name. Reynolds. Patrick
Okay.
Reynolds is his name. And he's okay.
Okay.
It's very rough style, which I think is okay to kind of
That
for the
serves. Yeah.
genre and everything else.
Sure.
But I mean, it's kind of jumping back and forth between this guy's childhood, who he is now as Spawn.
Hmm.
I think one of my critiques of the first issue was he adapted to the Spawn persona way too quick. I mean, it's
Okay.
like 1 second you're a human, next thing you know, you're like this
You're
nod,
the
yeah,
Hellspawn. Yeah.
nod piece of beef jerky in human form. It's
Hmm.
like, okay, pow, 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 you know? And the same is in this,
Hmm.
where he's like, what's happening to me? Okay, pow, 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 you know? I don't know, man. That's probably a lame way to put it, but still,
Is that an
it
ongoing?
is. It
Really?
is. And
I didn't think it had that much juice
hey,
to it.
man, I
Yeah.
think there's meat on the bone here if you want to explore the
Hmm.
origins of Gunslinger Spawn. I just think it hasn't been the smoothest transition for someone,
Okay.
yet again, not initiated fully in Spawn lore, because that's the
Sure.
only thing that I can assume that's going on here with
I
some of the
wonder.
demons and some of the different things that pop up in here. I'm like, I don't know these guys, but it feels like Palmiotti's, yet again, either expects you to know, or
Yeah.
he just, ripping shit out of his ass here. I don't know which is which,
Hmm.
you know. So who
Sure.
knows? Maybe he'll turn around. The price point super cheap for me. It's $1.99. It's a $2.99 comic, So my 35% discount,
Cardstock cover?
cardstock cover.
I mean,
The
Todd
the
kills it.
packaging is here. You know what I mean? You get
Yeah.
top notch product for a very low
Absolutely.
price point.
For bargain price.
And
Yeah.
I was really excited for this. Just yet again, Western Jimmy Palmiotti, but it just hasn't hit all
Hasn't clicked
hasn't
yet.
hit the notes for me yet. So again, I'm gonna stick
Okay.
with it. But
Is there a number on it as to how far this first arc will go? Is it like part 2 of 5, part 2 of 6, or just part
just
2?
part two. So we can
Okay.
only
I didn't know if
assume
like get through the first trade at
waiting for
least
the
to see
trade.
how it
Yes,
goes.
exactly.
Yeah.
Now, as far as what I read last night when my shipment first came in, my shipment first come in, I done did read
Hmm.
Superman
Hmm.
number 22, the one that I was referencing that really had nothing to
Okay.
do with
Lex. Oh, can't say that name.
this one right here. So yeah, and I enjoy this issue. It's still continuing with the fallout of
The Time
Time
Trapper.
Trapper, but Doomsday and
Hmm.
harboring Doomsday. It calls back to the Hunter Prey stuff from the
Jurgens.
Jurgens
Yeah.
from
The Prestige
way
format.
back when. So there's a little
Yeah.
callback to that, and I don't know, man. I think Williamson is doing a very good job on this title in general, and
Yeah. No
no
complaints.
complaints. He's firing on all cylinders. You're getting your money's worth out
Hmm.
of it. It's an enjoyable read. It's a top of the pile read for me. And of course, do I need to say it, Chris? Do I really need to
Hmm.
mention who the artist is on this book, who just knocks it out of the park each and every time?
I'm not sure I ever paid attention to the artist on
Yeah,
that book.
Dan Mora. Mr. I am nominating you for sainthood, Dan Mora, because you are a brilliant human being who deserves all the accolades, awards, money, women, whatever you want. You deserve it. Do you hear me? Whatever your heart desires for Valentine's Day, Dan Mora should get, because he is, Jesus, just an amazing, amazing artist. Can you imagine being born with that kind of skill, that kind of talent?
Oh God, no.
I
Yeah, I would lose my
I know he
mind.
had to
I don't think I'd be able to harness
hone
it.
his craft, right? He had to work at it, practice everything else, but still,
There's innate.
it was
Yeah.
in there, baby.
Yeah.
And God, what I wouldn't give just to steal his blood,
Mm-hmm.
inject it into myself so I could draw too. Anyway, I'm kidding. I'm not going to stop
And at the
you.
rate he goes, I think he draws with both hands.
Yeah, I was hoping you would laugh at that really weird comment I just made about.
No, I was too lost in your
Oh,
eyes.
okay. Yeah, it blew.
Yes.
All right.
But I think he draws Superman with this hand, then he drew World's Finest with this one.
Exactly. Well, the covers at least. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's
Oh, he's on Justice League too.
correct.
That's the
I
other book
actually
he's
have
on.
this. You know
Yeah,
what?
so he do both of those.
I didn't want to really necessarily show off some of the new books I got, because I do plan on kind of like milking it a little bit for next week's
All
episode,
right.
because I have a no shipment coming in next week. But I guess if you
Sure,
know if you
sure.
want, I can show you what I will potentially be talking about next week. I guess big market tease, because I
Yeah.
do have Justice League Unlimited #3 in here. Let me go on full screen so we can see these a little bit better.
Do it up.
Don't you yawn at me.
I'm not going to get
Yeah.
you. I'm just yawning in your direction.
Uh-huh. All right, as I mentioned, Justice League Unlimited number Trace. That's something we might be discussing next week. Hyde Street, also numero Trace #3, which is a Christmas cover, so a little bit too late on that for my taste, but still.
What is that?
This is a horror book from Ghost Machine Productions, which
Okay.
has a lot of, the whole Outer Limits / Twilight Zone kind of vibes. First two
Okay.
issues were okay. Not something I go screaming from the rooftop, you need to buy, but alas, it's been decent.
Have you ever read a horror comic that's actually scared you?
Well, great question. And I say great question because things that have scared me, I don't know if they were labeled as horror. You know what I mean? Like, if we talk about Alan Moore's Swamp Thing run, there's a couple
Sure.
issues in there that I was like, literally like, this is some scary ass bleep. But would you call that a horror book?
I mean, just in general, have you been scared by a comic?
Yes.
I've never been scared by a comic book.
Okay, how scared are we talking about? Like, had to change my undies scared, or?
No, just like frightened.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I've never been. You know, when I guess it's unfair to say, because I've only been frightened by comics when I think they're like undoing continuity.
Oh,
It's never been about the content of the story. It's like, oh God, are they taking Wally West away?
it's a reboot.
You know, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the Phoenix is coming back.
Oh, God, no. Yeah. No, but there have been some books that, here's the thing, right? And I had to bring up Swamp Thing, is that when anybody talks about Alan Moore's run, I will often say, because you could go like, yeah, horror, sci-fi, even.
Well, it's suspense, right? It's sophisticated suspense.
But for
right?
me,
Yeah.
it's like a love story.
Okay, yeah, that's at the core.
That's
right?
what I think it is, man. If you talk about his run in its entirety, I really consider it a love story. So yeah, I don't know, man. At first, I thought you were asking me like out of genre or in genre. Has anything ever
I mean,
scared
in
you?
or
You
out.
know what I mean?
Yeah, in or out.
So yeah, there was. Immediately, I think of a couple of those issues, but I mean, yeah, I don't know, man. Something that really just made me.
I think horror and comedy are just very, very hard things to do in the comics medium. Because I can only think of a handful of times I've like laughed out loud or even like chuckled at a comic. I've never been scared by one. So I think it's just they're just hard asks, big asks for a comic.
Well, I will tell you, I just showed off Hyde Street. I'm reading it. I find it to be, okay, but it's not like
Sure.
I can't sleep at night after reading it. So if that's the intention, Jeff Johns completely and utterly failed.
Failure.
Yes, not usually in Jeff Johns' wheelhouse, but all right. So Dave continues. Dick Tracy #7, which should have been on my read pile last night because I'm so enjoying this from Mad Cave Studios, but when I work and I read at night, my eyes tend to go in different directions. So
Sure.
I was like, I don't know if I can fully give the attention to this that it deserves. I also have Absolute Superman #4 here, which I'm sure I will be talking about next week during our Valentine's Love Fest. Not
Mhm.
necessarily because I love it, but because it's Absolute Superman. But book I love, I've been loving, Jason Aaron's Namor #7. This is almost over. 'Cause it's
Mhm.
only going to 8. Unless they do that
Okay.
stupid thing where they announce, because you demanded it, now it's a 12 issue maxi series.
Mhm.
Hopefully they don't do that because that'd just be a wee bit too long. Sometimes things you just need that period at the end of the sentence. Redcoat. Redcoat, another Ghost Machines production book. I'm a little behind on this one, so I do need to catch up. Brian Hitch, I said I was going to review this next week. He's an artist I haven't. His style isn't, Eddie Barrows, whatever. It's like those kind of guys that
Mhm.
don't really resonate with me very much,
Sure.
but it's okay here.
Do they still refer to him as widescreen 30 years later?
In public, I don't know. I did read that in a bathroom stall though.
It's true.
Sacrificers #14. I am so behind on this. I am like 8 issues behind on this. I did
Mm.
enjoy the start of it, so I really should double check and make sure I need to be buying this. I think we've all been there. And last but not least, I'm sure I'll talk about it next week, is Wolverine #6. This is Legacy #398. So we're almost at an overpriced anniversary issue. My wallet weeps in
Absolutely.
advance.
Hopefully, it'll be a love letter to
Hey,
Wolverine.
I did get a spoiler. There's going to be a Daniel Warren Johnson backup story in there. And
Who?
did you ever read? Was it Wonder Woman Dead Earth? I can't remember the name of the series. He does
No.
Transformers. He did do a power bomb. He has a very loose, kind of rough style, wild, very action based artist and
Mm-hmm.
writer. Okay.
No, I don't know him.
Okay. Well, he's going to be doing a backup. So, yay. I'm
Okay.
sure you're excited about that since you don't know who the hell he is. But
I'm all about
that
it.
last, that's where we're at. Yeah. So, if anybody wants to make any comments about those books, you know what to do. It's on the screen right now. We encourage you to contact us any which way you see fit. I know Bill just contacted us in the chat not
Mm-hmm.
too long ago
Mm-hmm.
to complain about reviewers. So good for him. That
I
a
agree.
fellow old fogey, another curmudgeon, lined up.
Old soul.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. So I don't know what else we got on deck right now, unless you want to start going into email.
Yeah, we could
Because
do that.
I'm begging here for emails. Come on, talk to us. I need to talk to you, please.
Yeah.
We do have a a regular contributor
Mm-hmm.
to the show in the name of Chris Yu. So much so that we have named this segment in his honor.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Oh, your brother just sent I think it's a cheers emoji. I mean, yes, two beer steins
what does
clanking.
this mean? What?
I think he's just saying cheers.
Cheers for what? I'm not. I'm drinking a coffee. Why? What am I cheering to?
I think he's just happy to
It's the
see you.
Super Bowl. Go team! Yeah, cheers!
Rah.
Oh damn! I almost knocked over everything on my table. You see what you made me do, Matthew, with your stupid cheers emoji? I almost broke stuff.
I know it. I just realized that we're at a milestone episode here. This is episode 25. I've been looking at this screen all day and didn't realize that we were at a hologram foil
Yeah.
cover
And
episode.
dude, I
Yeah.
hate saying like words twice. Like earlier, I used the word hubris in the show, and I've tried to avoid
Mhm,
using it. And you're like, "Oh yeah,
mhm,
hubris," and I'm like, "Yes, thank you." But I've been trying to avoid this the entire time we're talking.
mhm.
It is our 25th episode. I changed the way that we title the episodes because I used to write it out. For example, episode 22 would be written out not numerically. This
Oh,
episode is
okay.
listed numerically. I figured 25 was when we switch it over, much like the
Cool.
Super Bowl when you go from Roman numerals to what have you. The fact that it's episode 25, we talked about Iron Man from
From
25 years
25 years
ago.
ago.
Yes, and
Good grief.
I believe we did make some more references to 25 in one way, shape, or form or the other. So there we are. There you have it. We
There
are
you go.
something else. Me and you and me.
About that.
Yeah.
All
All
about
right,
it.
so let's see.
All
Well,
about it.
listen, is Chris Yu's email 25 paragraphs long?
No,
Hey, just missed it.
no.
Dang it.
Missed it by that much.
Oh, man. Well, what do you say we get into that right now?
Let's do it. And the only reason I realized it was the 25th episode is because his says episode
Ah,
24.
you see that?
So, like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Hello, the Bada Show. When I saw the Instagram teaser for the episode, it threw me into a bit of an existential crisis. The tease of the reveal of the Chili Dog story made my mind battle against itself. On the one hand, I'd love to know the inside baseball of the events of the Chili Dog story, but on the other hand, not knowing the story has become an integral part of the show for me. It's your Vera Peterson from Cheers, your Maris Crane from Frasier, your Bob Sacamano from Seinfeld. Often mentioned, but never revealed. I began to think that if you started to tell the story, I would just not watch that part of the show and create a Schrodinger's Chili Dog story where the story was both told and not told, and I wouldn't know which one it was unless I watched past the beginning of the story. Thankfully for me, you ran out of time, so I could breathe a sigh of relief. So let's bada babble. But first, I mean, there's a story about something that happened with a chili dog.
Yes. And a comics pro.
And a comics
And
professional.
you.
And me.
But, listen, man.
And a young me.
And a young you, yes. A young, impressionable Chris.
Relatively.
Think of it like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are two things, mainstream comics, big two things you did not need? You did not need an origin for Wolverine.
No, we did not.
You do not need an origin for the Joker.
No, we do not.
But do we need an origin, the impetus, the catalyst of the Chili Dog story by revealing what the Chili Dog story is anyway? Do we?
Well, you know, like a funny thing happened to me on the way to a comic book convention. But we're in the middle of an email right now.
Yes, indeed.
So we should probably get back to that. Okay, back to Chris. He says, I'm in awe of the amount of work that Chris did to move from WordPress to Blogger. It shows your dedication to your craft, and I'm looking forward to continue reading the blog in order with the original orange coloring. I'll be kicking off my reread of Action Comics Daily in the new old home once it's officially there. And it's there. It's there. It's all there now. It's kind of a disaster, as I mentioned. I think I mentioned it earlier. I've been talking. I don't talk much right now, but I think I've mentioned this a few times already. But everything from October 2021 till now is a bit iffy, but everything before that is there. And all linkable, all reachable, all readable, all viewable. So Action Comics Daily is there, all 300 parts of it. So I hope you do check it out, and I'd love to read. I don't know how to get comments on that though, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Maybe it's the same as it always was. But thank you all the same. Chris continues. Hearing Dave talk about Son of Kal-El, I want to ask which version of John Kent you prefer, the 10-year-old or the teenager. I've only read a few Super Son stories of John and Damian, so I only know John as a kid. But on Dave's recommendation, I'm going to check out Son of Kal-El and see what teenage John is like as well. So what's your preference?
Well, you know, he talks about this, and before I say my preference, I haven't heard anything from him yet about my Fantastic Four recommendation when he'd asked like what Marvel title he should be reading.
Gotcha.
And now I feel bad since I kind of crapped all over issue number 28. So I'm really curious.
I mean,
what's that?
It's still 27 issues that could be enjoyable.
I get it. I understand, but I'm a little worried because as many times I like talk to you about something and might recommend something, you're like, yeah.
Well, I'm weird.
Yeah, I'm weird too. But then I go, oh, geez, he didn't like it. Oh no. So yeah, Chris, please respond. SOS on the FF and let me know if you think I'm a moron or not. I mean, you think I'm a moron, but at least a moron with taste. But teenage, the young adult version, the kid version, like the Super Sons, dude. I have a kid, but kids ruin everything. Let's be honest here. I mean, movies, TV, you put a kid in there, it's just a disaster. Plus, when we're talking about film and television, there's labor laws. They can only film until a certain time. Then they got to make sure you got a twin. Because if you don't have a twin, you can't do scenes. I mean, what would have happened to Full House without Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen? It probably would have been better. Probably more Dave Coulier, you know? And
Cut it out.
Exactly. A little more John Stamos, nobody would have complained.
A little bit of the woodchuck on the
But I
left.
like, yeah, ooh, that threw me off. So anyway, I totally enjoy the more adult version of John Kent, but I think another big motivator for that would be exactly what was established in Son of Kal-El, where he was inheriting the main mantle. You know what I mean, and how he handled it
Mm-hmm.
and what have you. While the younger version material that I read, he's whether it was Dan Jurgens who did the Lois and Clark Superman stuff, which was
Mm-hmm.
very entertaining, very good. I really enjoyed that
Mm-hmm.
story quite a bit, but he's still kind of like, like what I was just alluding to earlier, that annoying kid. What's he doing? Oh, he's messing around with his dad's stuff. Oh, he found the Superman costume because he's a little jerk, because he's a kid. That kind of stuff. Or even with Damian. I'm not a Damian Wayne fan. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not big into that kind of stuff. I don't really care for family books overall or anything. So I am much more interested in the adult version of, John Kent. So that's a long-winded answer to a very short question.
I liked the kid better, but I hated Super Sons.
Why do you like the kid better?
I liked him as a kid better. I liked him in the was it Gleason Tomasi
Yeah,
Superman.
all right, yeah.
I liked him in Lois and Clark. I the Super Sons series that they kicked off at a Rebirth. I found that to be horrendous. Like I think they really leaned into like this is the fun book, and it's like just let it be the fun book. Don't tell us it's the fun
Mm-hmm.
book because it was just too much, and
Yeah.
it was like it veered into silly.
I can hear.
And I
I'm
am
sorry. I was gonna say I can hear what you're saying about that Superman run though, where he
yeah.
was. Yeah. Okay.
I am a Damian Wayne fan. I like Damian a lot, depending on who's writing him, I guess. Damian kind of did he went like the Quentin Quire path. If people are familiar with Quentin Quire from the X-Men, like where he started off and he was like this real hard-edged little dick, and then they softened him a lot, to where he's like his edge is almost like comedic now. It's like Damian's a dick. Okay, we get it. Uh, but I remember before Flashpoint, like when Batman was dead and Dick was Batman, he's like, I got to do something with this kid. So he puts him with the Teen Titans, and this is like the tail end of the volume that Jeff Johns kicked off in '03. And like he brings Damien and he's like, I need you guys to watch him. So Damien goes in, he sits at the head of the table. He's like, okay, so you guys work for me now. And it was just so great
Mm.
because he's this little shit. He's like 2 feet tall, and he thinks he's in charge. I thought that was a lot of fun. Ever since he's just kind of like, I don't know, it's more comedic than hard, I guess. But I didn't care for that Super Sun series, and I think I bought like all 3 or 4 that they put out, and it's like this is not
I
great.
will say this, saying that I prefer the young adult
Hmm.
version of, and I obviously I have no semblance of like what a young adult is, because I could be saying young adult and he is like a kid or a teenager. I don't know. So the teenage
I don't know
version,
how old he's supposed to be. I don't know how old he's
he
supposed to
is in his
be.
late teens, I believe he's supposed to
I was
be.
gonna say, is he like 18ish?
Um,
Yeah.
I think the age up was very lame,
Oh, it's poorly
very
done.
poorly done. So for those who
But
complained about it, I get it. I completely understand that.
it felt like a gimmick in search of a story, rather a story in search of a
Yeah, I
gimmick.
mean he's being,
And it was Bendis, right?
yeah. So he gets tortured. He is kept as a prisoner for all these
Hmm.
years and years and years, and then of course that's how he ages. And
Yeah.
I think it's weird that you would come back from that and still be optimistic and positive and happy and
Yeah, because they gave him like the Doomsday and Bane treatment.
mm,
You know, it's like Bane's origin story. It's like, okay, you're locked up from childhood and you're abused for your entire life until you become what you become.
mhm.
I don't
I
know.
mean, it opens up interesting avenues where Clark feels like he failed like as a father in many ways, and
Hmm.
allowing harm to come to his son. And I can understand like stories like that being
And that,
kind of cool.
but that leans into your kids ruin everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Because is that a Superman we want?
I like Dad Superman. I like Papa
Oh,
Superman.
I mean, that sure, Dad Superman, but like the dad who failed.
Hmm.
Eh,
Yeah.
I don't know.
So yeah, that's a weird thing, right? So I'm just trying to say here like I
Sure.
like this aged up John Kent, but I don't like how we got there.
How we
Yeah.
got there. The destination, not the journey.
Thank you so
There
much.
you go. Chris
Okay.
continues. The announcement of Amazing Comics, that's the Quesada
Right.
deal, reminds me of the short-lived 90s publisher Techno Comics. Techno also tried to bring in the worlds of TV, motion picture, and comics by publishing books based on concepts created by Gene Roddenberry, Mikey Spillane, Isaac Asimov, and Leonard Nimoy. They even had George Perez on Isaac Asimov's iBots, or L-Bots. I don't know if that's an I or no. I hope Amazing Comics lasts longer than Techno did. Do you have any fond memories of Techno
No, it's
Comics?
like repressed memory because I that to the idea of that Roddenberry comics line has not been in my consciousness for so long. But then when I read this email, I'm like, wait, I do kind of remember that, don't I? And I don't remember it. I'm not sure if I remember it because I came across some issues in the bin or when it came out or what have you. But I have the
Mm,
most vaguest recollection of it. So maybe
mhm.
I'll go see a therapist who will hypnotize me, and it'll be discovered that I was tortured by Techno Comics.
You might have been.
Mm-hmm.
You might have been. What I remember is like people were very, very disappointed when they bought a book called like Neil Gaiman's something, and Neil Gaiman had nothing to do with it.
Right? Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, it's like when it's like, oh, it's this new show, and Steven Spielberg's the executive producer. Okay, was he ever on set? No. Does he have any story input? No. Did he direct anything? No.
Yeah.
What did he do? I don't know. He has his name on
Yeah.
it.
Right.
Cool. Because I don't know how involved Leonard Nimoy was on his book, or Isaac Asimov was on his. Was he even alive at the time? Who
I'm not
knows?
sure, but what year? Because you know what? Maybe Leonard Nimoy was too busy like working on Three Men and a Baby. I don't know. He had no time for comics. He was too busy working on that masterpiece.
I mean, he did have to wrangle in Ted Danson, Steve Gutenberg, and
The
Magnum PI.
hubris.
The hubris of Sam Malone.
Right.
Let's see. This was 1995 through
Way
1997.
after Three Men and a Little Baby.
This was when they were working on Three Men and a Little Baby, Three Men and a Teenage Baby.
Yeah.
They were going ahead in time.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got let's see, Gene Roddenberry involved
Yeah.
there, Isaac Asimov, John Jakes, Leonard Nimoy, Mickey Spillane, Neil Gaiman, Tad Williams. Don't know who that is here. He looks like that Fetterman guy from Pennsylvania. Um, Gene Roddenberry was. Yeah, he died in 1991, so I don't think he was involved in
Yeah.
the book.
Well.
Um, Isaac Asimov was dead in 1992, so I don't think he had anything to do with his book. John Jakes actually just died last year or 2 years ago. But yeah, it's that was a weird
Yeah.
time. That was a weird time. Chris
Okay.
continues,
Cool.
or he concludes
Oh.
actually. I'm always amazed by the prices of the back issues when you play The Price Guide is Right. My guesses are never anywhere close to the actual prices. For me, this segment is both highly entertaining and educational. Keep this segment in regular rotation. And we
I
intend to.
agree.
It's interesting.
I like bits. I like having fun. I like game shows. I like all that stuff.
Hmm. Same.
But the thing
And
is,
it's
you need
hmm,
to orchestrate it. It's your job, your responsibility. So if we don't have one on an episode,
uh,
it's your fault.
oh, everything's my fault this week. Trust me.
Yes. So
Trust me
so
on
that
that.
Mr. Chris, if you want more, you got to pressure this guy down here in the purple, almost pink
Hmm.
shirt to start
Hmm.
producing some more Price Guide is Right segments for your enjoyment pleasure.
I'm on it.
I haven't done one of my game show bits in a while, but I
Hmm.
don't hear Chris you writing in about those. So you know what?
You might have to bust one out for Valentine's
That's a
Day.
good idea. I like that.
It's a holiday.
It really is. It's a completely commercial, capitalistic
Hmm.
holiday, toying with human emotion.
We could pretend that we're playing the Long Halloween here. With aren't they doing a sequel to the Long Halloween now?
Which haven't they already done some? I don't know.
I thought that's like the Long Halloween
I
2 or
think
something. Like
there
Loeb
was, but
and
there's another long Halloween out. But I don't even know if that's like a reissue of something else or like because Tim Sale is
he's
yeah.
gone.
So I
Yeah.
don't know what they're doing. I don't know who's drawing it or
I
what's
think
involved in it.
I think it was his covers.
Okay, all right.
Long Halloween sequel. Let's see Batman: The Long Halloween, The Last
Oh,
Halloween. Okay, so what is that?
this is going the way of like an '80s horror movie franchise.
Let's see here. It's Jeff Loeb, Klaus Janson with Dave Stewart, Richard Stalkings, and I think, yeah, the covers are Sale.
Okay.
And I mean, Tim Sale did a lot of Batman work, a lot of because I think I even have like a book of Tim Sale's Batman stuff
Uh huh.
here somewhere. I thought I did. Maybe I don't.
Maybe it's keeping your desk straight. Maybe it's down there below you. Like,
It could
yeah.
be. I could have sworn I had a Tim Sale Batman thing. Maybe not.
Next week, you can whip
Put a
whip
pin in
that
it.
sucker out. No problem. Biggity
Yeah.
bam, biggity boom. There you go.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Chris, for the weekly email. It's always appreciated, always well written. Even though I would like more praise thrown my way, considering that you're
Hmm.
always eager to tell Chris that his segments and bits are the best of this program.
Breaking news.
Oh,
Breaking
what's
news.
up?
Chris Yu says, I'm hoping for Valentine's Day trivia next week.
Okay, produced by
You're on.
you, not by me. That's what he wants.
I don't have the gimmicks and the
Yeah,
gadgets.
well, that's what I got. This is true. I don't have much
Hmm.
in line of being
Yeah, like I was holding up covers on my phone. They're like, okay, what's this book?
but that's what he wants, right? He doesn't want all this fancy production value that I toil and spend hours working on here in the confines of my home with all this cool stuff that surrounds me. No, 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 no. He just wants you going,
Hmm.
yeah. That's the exact noise you made when you held up the
It is.
yeah.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Cover.
Okay. Go. You know what you need to do right now? Go outside, find a woman, club her over the head, and drag her back to the fire, because you,
Hmm.
my friend, are in fact the caveman,
Hmm.
Captain
Hmm.
Caveman. So yeah, we'll work on that for next week's Valentine's Day Spectacular. That's what we'll do, the Love Fest. We need a better name for next week's episode too. So if we can think of anything, to describe it, to give that whole Valentine's, full bouquet of,
Hmm.
goodness, we get to workshop that a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. So we've already discussed what's going to happen next week. So
Hmm.
we got that out of the way. Even though I don't think we did that last episode. So,
We
you
didn't.
know.
We didn't. Yeah, it was off brand for us.
hmm I would like to discuss what we are both doing for the remainder of our days. Because, well, not life, but
Hmm.
today. The remainder
Today.
of our days, I shall invent something that will neutralize plutonium. Yeah, which I am working on, by the way. I have an event this evening that I feel kind of bad about because I told
Okay.
my wife I don't want to go. I told her I do not want to do this whatsoever, and then
Strike one.
yes, and listen, I then over the course of like the last 5-6 days, I realized she was putting effort into this event. Like what it is a game night at the
Hmm.
church. So
Okay.
board games, and I've detailed on this very show the church that we attend. I don't go very often because I tend to work Sundays, but how it's kind of
Hmm.
like not really my scene and what's
Hmm.
happening there, and how a lot of the attendance can be even lackluster, and those who do attend kind of freak me out a little bit. Just saying.
Okay.
And so, I was kind of,
Hopefully, we didn't lose just a part of our audience here.
which ones? The ones who go to church, the same church?
Go to your
Yeah,
church.
dude, we would have
Yeah.
lost half a person. Um, So anyway, this game night thing, like she went out and bought like prizes, and
Okay.
on my kitchen table right now, there's like a bunch of different games and Lotteria and Monopoly
Hmm.
and all kinds of stuff, and I'm like, oh boy, listen, I don't even like board games. I don't play games. Like in my household, when people are playing games, I'm always in the other room reading. So I'm like, now I have to go somewhere and participate in board games. But here's the thing, right? When she was like, you don't have to go because I know you don't like it and whatever. But now I've seen her put in all this effort. I feel like a very unsupportive husband if I don't go.
Gotta go.
So I gotta go. Even though every fiber in my being is like bed, comics, fresh stack, comfy, you know? So tonight I will be in a church, probably going like this. I don't even know how to play this shit, man. This game
Hand
sucks.
out Bada Bin business
I gotta
cards.
make those up. I gotta work on those.
Hmm.
Yeah, I would be.
Just say, don't listen to episode 25,
Yeah,
huh?
right. Yeah, well, don't listen to the very end. Listen to it all the way up until 2 hours and 11 minutes into the program. But yeah, no, listen, man, I'm just being honest here, and like, I've been to like churches before. They're like mega church. I live in Texas, for Christ's sakes, and I'm like, she could have chose like one of these churches that has more of a presence, but she
Okay.
really like the place that she decided to go to now is
Like a small community.
it should be on the side of a milk carton. Like it's just no one barely ever shows up, and the people who do are just these random people that really just I don't know, man. Zip it, Dave. Stop it. You're gonna say things you're gonna regret. Double zip. But yeah, so I will be at game night this evening, doing that, not knowing how to play Monopoly because I haven't played in longer than I read this freaking Iron Man run.
I think I'm still playing the same game of Monopoly from
Are
1995.
you?
That game doesn't ever end.
Did you slab it? Is it preserved?
I should. I should shellac it and slap
Exactly.
it.
Shellac that thing. You know, I am looking for sympathy when I make comments like this. I'm waiting for you to relate and say, you know what, I wouldn't want to go to that either. Or something. But you just leave me high and dry.
Yeah, sorry. I envy you.
For?
I don't know. Just having something to do.
Dude, but I have something to do. It's called I am a creature of my comfort. I got my comics to read. I got, my Murder, She Wrote to watch. Even though I've seen every episode 18 freaking times. Like, it's my day off. That's what I want to do. I mean, once we sign off here today, I still have my chores to do. I got to do laundry. She wants me to organize the closet. So, I mean, I got, plenty of things to keep myself occupied. But, I don't know, man. I should, in the theme of Monopoly, I probably shouldn't have given that, get out of jail free card back to her so easily when I felt bad because I'm like, she's trying to do something here, and so I should be a good guy and go support it. But being the guy I am, I get to complain about it every second, every waking moment of the day. You know what I mean? So there we are. There we have it. Yeah. What do you got going on tonight?
I
You
don't
just
know.
made the strangest noise. If you replay it, I didn't even. Are you a human? Are you an alien imposter pretending to be Chris?
I don't know.
It was yeah, dude. That was weird. It was like.
Oh, I think it's my dental apparatus.
Oh man, it was a squishy noise. It was definitely it was
Apologies
wet.
Apologies for disgusting.
Well, it wasn't disgusting, but it does again put your identity in doubt as far as who you really are. Underneath that skin, maybe you are the AI armor of
I might
Tony
be.
Stark.
I might have antenna.
Yeah, and you're wearing some synthetic skin. You know what I mean? So yeah, what I recommend for you to do this evening is cook. You'd like to cook things. Why don't you
I do.
craft some culinary delights this
Maybe.
evening? I think that'd be a very wise decision.
Could do that.
Okay, you could. You won't, but you could.
Who knows? I don't know what the next 20 minutes will bring, much less the next 20 hours.
All right. Well, that be that.
You asked me a few days ago if we'd be doing this right now. I just said
Yes,
no.
it's been a very rough week. That's why I'm very appreciative you were here with us today, discussing comics and laughing and.
I don't know if I'm 100% here, which I don't know how I don't watch these shows back, so I don't know how terrible I usually am. So I don't know if I'm extremely terrible
You're
today. I
fine.
might be.
You're just fine.
Okay.
You are
Okay.
adequate. Absolutely adequate. If
That's what's going to be on my
dude, you
tombstone.
are above the Milgram line. Okay, you totally.
Oh, that's
for
good.
real. Yes,
That is good.
Yeah. All right then, man. Do you want to split? You want to hit the road? You get, I mean, I was waiting for you to be like, dude, I got all this stuff lined up. I didn't get time for you guys, for the little people out
No,
there.
I nothing. But I don't know if let me go through the mail one more time here, see if anything else is there. Did Tomorrow say thank you for the thank you for the plug?
No, I don't think they do something like that. No.
Don't think
Yeah.
so. No, I've given them plugs before that's gotten them purchases, and they wouldn't even click a heart. But
no, I think it's safe to say we should split because here's the other thing. I think next week we're going to give them, and I mean the loving audience of the Bada Bin show, quite the hootenanny.
yeah,
Thanks to Valentine's Day. So I know it's a quickie for us. It's only like 2 hours and 20 minutes, but I think it's suitable unless you disagree.
I think so. No,
We just spent the last 10 minutes hemming and hawing if we should keep going with the show this week or not, which is
quality.
yes,
content.
exactly. This is top notch stuff. You can't miss it. Tell your family, tell your friends, tell a stranger on the street. You see that transient?
Don't turn to the last page.
Yeah, don't be spoiled. You see that homeless guy asking for money? Just hand him your phone with Bada Bin Show on YouTube. Be like, enjoy this. Keep the phone. Keep it. It's okay. Spread that love.
Pass it on.
Yeah, exactly. What am I supposed to do when I need to charge it? You're not. Anyway. All right, then I think it's a good time to hit the road. As I've been saying, I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in today. We appreciate it. Virtual hugs for all of you.
For sure.
Do you have any loving sentiments you would like to share with the viewing public before I hit the exit music?
Same
as always. Listen,
same as always.
I will speak on Chris's behalf here. He thinks you
Please
are the
do.
bee's knees. There is nothing finer.
The cat's
pajamas. You guys out there are just the top of the pops. Signed.
You're the Tower of Pisa.
Signed Chris. Yeah. Well, that leans. That's kind of. Yeah. All right.
What is it? You're the top. You're the Tower of Pisa. You're the top. You're the Mona Lisa.
You're the best around. That's what you are. All right. All right. We're leaving. See you guys later next week. Valentine's Day. Hoot nanny. Be there or be square. Adios.
See ya.